Okay, welcome everybody. Coffee and Art in the Morning. I'm Dee Dee. I'll move the coffee out of the way. We don't want any spills on the area. So, here's the thing. Jana was streaming some stencils last night. I didn't get to watch it last night. I watched half of it this morning. And she just inspired me to pull out stencils. But not just stencils, but some stamps too. So, I think what I'm going to do is talk about we've talked about it before, but I want to do it more in depth on using what you can do for color book backgrounds. And I know we talked about, how you can use stencils and stamps and other things in the background of color books, but I thought we would just go ahead and do a little couple of examples. And yeah, so I pulled out Anamorphia this morning. I flagged a couple of pages that I think would be good to test, big areas of a blank space. So I thought maybe we would do something like that, and I wrote different parts, like in this one maybe stencil this and then paint the background. Same for these. And then on this you could paint the background and then stencil or stamp on it. Same for this one. That just has doodle more crows. Well, I'm not going to doodle more crows. We're going to stamp or stencil. Same for this one. It says draw more jellyfish. This one says, well, yeah, it does. Draw more bees. No, oh, Suzanne, I do need to get out Her Majesty Camille. It's been a while since we've used a cameo silhouette. Yeah, we do need to do that again soon. You know? Suzanne. But anyway, so I thought we could use these pages for those examples, but I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about, and it has got a little bit of a glare. I may need to prop that. Let me get that book over here and prop that up real quick. It just needs to prop up just an inch or so that my lamp doesn't glare on it as much. So I'm going to just prop it up just an inch there. So I wanted to show y'all again a couple of ways that we have used backgrounds and what we do with our color book pages. Yes, I know, for all that blank space. So I don't know what we're going to do yet. So I did pull out a few, I pulled out a stencil pack and some stamps, and so we'll see. But I wanted to remind y'all of the napkin journal and how we have used color book pages cut out on top of painted napkins. So napkins are matte medium down and then paint in, and then these are color book images, and we cut them out and then paint them in. So this is another way to use your color book images and cut them out and use them on a page. I got a little bit of see the sun coming through the window there. So color book page, let's see what else. These are color book images cut out and then painted in a kind of a mixed media collage-y way. So again, it's just another way to use your color book pages if you have pages that are one-sided, or you just want to cut them out and use them in your art journals. So, but this is my napkin journal. So all the backgrounds started with like napkins like this. Okay? Hey Debbie, anybody else coming in? So it's just another one of the ways that you can use your color book images. So I wanted to show, I'm going to bring out my binder here. Let me see if I can do a little something with this lamp. Let's move it over just maybe a little bit. There we go. Well, that's going to put a glare anyway. These are in sleeves, so they're going to have a little bit of a glare. But so I want to show you some of the various backgrounds that we have used in color book pages. And they are in sleeves. There is going to be a little bit of a glare, but I've shown these pages lots of times. But this is just a reminder of what you can do with backgrounds. So here I've painted in and then put in little splatters. This one, again, a lot of these are painted. Okay, a lot of them are painted. I painted in the clouds. Let's see, I need to maybe this up a little more. Hang on, guys. The light's flashing out now. Let's see. One moment, please. Whoa. Hang on. Okay. Because I have my, the sun's coming through the window. All right, so this one we've used Stickles glitter on, but this is all paint. So don't be afraid to paint your backgrounds in your color book. Paint, 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 okay? Paint and glitter, paint, acrylic. And when I say paint, I just mean the cheap craft paint. Americana is my favorite, but just craft paint. Here we've used paint and then color pencil. I don't know what you call that, kind of glows, if you will. Glows or sun rays or any of that. You can do that with pencil, but that works because that's acrylic paint. If this was just color pencil back here, you couldn't do this on top of it. Okay. Here's one where it's just like a real big painted out area. This is one of Bennett Klein's, and it's kind of like that on his page. He kind of doesn't really have anything over here, so I exaggerated that fog or that mist and put it all the way through. Of course, this is just all completely colored in. Another one with painting in my own galaxies and yeah, those napkins, y'all that are in that napkin exchange, and you don't have to put it in a book. Test one out. Just get a piece of cardstock, heavy cardstock, and do the napkin on it, and then use your color book images that you've cut out on that. But now remember, guys, it's best if you color in the book or color your pages before you glue them in, because if you glue your images on top of a rough napkin, there's no way you can color pencil them, right? Because you'll be color penciling in a texture. So make sure that if you color on top of your napkins not color on top of the napkins, cut your images out and then glue it on your napkin. Okay, this one is our dragon that's done all in black and white. Just use black and white pencil and a white Posca. And then this is just color pencil here. So, again, this is on craft paper. So you could print it out. Hey, Julie Topaz. Oh, Julie always reminds me it's hump day. I should bring out Mike. I know the camel's name's not Mike, but that always makes me think of that commercial. Anyway, so you could print out your image on like craft paper, craft cardstock, and color it on there. Then you've already got your mid-tone with the craft color. I'm showing different ways, different backgrounds. Hey, Bunny. I'm showing different backgrounds that you can use your color book pages. Here's the little chipmunk that I did finish this. I haven't posted it on Bennett Klein's Facebook group yet, but this one is only done with a couple of teals, like a marker and a pencil, and I think we used 3 shades of purple and the purple marker. And when I say marker, I just mean these Crayola, let me find one here. Do I have one sitting here? Yeah. Crayola Super Tips. These little like kids markers, and I'm going to show you some more of that in a minute too. Okay, so in my Doodlers Anonymous, I took the cover off my Doodlers Anonymous and the intro page to put in my binder. And so what I wanted to show you on this is, just because they don't have anything in the background doesn't mean you can't put it in there yourself. So like the swoops here of the leaves, that's paint. Here again, the background, I put the little glow around things. With the blue peanut. Yes, I know, I like the blue peanut too, Marilyn. This one is all paint. This had nothing in the background but white. So it just looked like, because it was all white, I thought, well, let's put them either in a cloud or in a snowstorm. So all this is paint, paint. Here's another one where all this is painted in, and this background right here, and this was all added in. None of that was there. I just put that in myself, and the little lantern wasn't there. So just because something's not there, don't feel like you can't draw something in. Draw it in, color it in. See all that back here? Yeah, and all the water here's that's all acrylic paint. Oh, hey, welcome back, Jen. Glad to have you. So this one is all just left white, but I did put a little cloud around the artist's name, and so that was I know, it's cute, yeah. I tried to accent the artist names in some way or another. Like on this one, I made a nice white wave. And try to keep their names. This one I just left down here. But again, this is all like a pencil glow. And this is half marker, the Crayola Super Tips. Okay. And then also a pencil on top of that. Okay, this one, I put the water over the shoes, like dripping down over the Converse. Thanks, Marilyn. This I painted all in like a storm here. Same for the monster. I added more hairs, and yeah, that was a 2-page spread. This one, again, I used a lot of the kids' Crayola markers. There's a little something on, it's not paint, it's a little piece of paper. I used the kids' Crayola markers, and then did a lot of pencil. And like this vest here, I made my own plaid, you know. Right there. And so here's a good example of what you can do in backgrounds. So all these trees, and now there were a couple of little leaves. These little leaves right there were there, and the little olive was there. But all these other little grass marks here, and all these little like tick marks there, all those little gold marks on top of the yellow, all these little lines on the mountain, and some of these designs here. I added all that to make it look like more like farmland and, you know, things growing. So you can add all that yourself. So just because something is flat, and don't think that you have to color it. How would you paint a snowstorm? Well, I did paint this snowstorm here. This could be see how I did the wash of white over it? You could just do more of that to make it look like snow is blowing, and then splatter it. And if you have some blue in the background, thanks, Janet. If you have some blue or purple, it would work with purple too, like lavender color in the snow shadows. If it was, you know, blue or purple, then when you splatter paint on top of that, then the snow will show. And you can also splatter over the top of your image like this, so that it looks like they're in the snow, right? So that's how you could do a snowstorm. But you could use purple. Lavender would be like a shadow in snow, or gray, you know, but purple or blue just gives it more life than just a flat gray shadow, you know, so I would go with purple or blue. Okay, so let's see, where were we? Okay, so anyway, you can do your own backgrounds. And what I'm going to do is show you some stencil and stamping. Now, again, it's going to depend on the size of the area. Thanks, Jen. It's going to depend on the size of the area you want to stencil or stamp, and the size of your stencil or stamp. Like right here, I couldn't really stamp. Let me find something here, something kind of big. I didn't pull too many big things out here. All right, well, yeah. Okay, so for instance, this one. The splash. It would be hard to, I mean, not impossible, but you might get 3 splashes in there. So we're going to play with that today in my Anamorphia. This one I just left white because I really wanted just to concentrate on him. And I showed how to do a silk shine here. So the ribbons go from dark, medium, light to white, and then back down again. And see how that gives it a shine? But to get this effect, you have to have the shine going all like together. Or if it goes like this, or like that. However, it just has to look like it flows together. In other words, if you just put a shine here, a shine there, one up here, one down there, it would still look like shiny ribbon, but it wouldn't look like he was had a belly. See, the shine is on his belly right here, and that's why that effect works. Okay, here's one we did for the fibs. I think I need to make copies. You know what? If I do decide to do a news from the muse art letter, this has got to be in there. Now, of course, I can't copy, or I wouldn't sell it anyway. But you know, this needs to be. We'd have to do something that has to do with fibs. This one is in, right now at least, this one I was just showing, this is part of the Doodler's Anonymous book. Okay, all right, next is, these are just random pages. This was a page somebody posted on Sketchy Group and wanted us all to color. So they posted the black and white of her, and we all color. Well, actually, they posted probably about 8 or 10 different ones. And I picked this one to color in. So, yeah. So there you can see skin colored there. And they're in sleeves, so it has a little bit of a glare, but there's the color right there. Again, star background and a glow around the moon with white color pencil. This one was out of a color book page, and or a color book, and I did my own background, my own collage bits, painted my own water in there. This was a color book page. I don't remember if there was even anything there. Maybe this was blank, or maybe had a couple trees in there, but I just painted my emu right over it. So again, just because there's a color book page that may have something, let's just say there was a tree right there. There's nothing stopping you from covering that tree up with another color book page image that you might like, or paint in your own. Added some collage bits down here and just color penciled and painted in the rest. So make it your own. Hey DRD, make it your own. Okay? Here's an example of an image. I cut her out, and I was going to use her in something, and then I just decided to put her in here. But all this is just my own little marks. They're just little squares, almost like snow falling, but stylized, you know. Just little squares behind her. So I did her out of the Creative Haven kimono book. Let me see. Maybe if I kind of tilt these up, you can take the glare off just a little, because I do have a lamp right there, and I know I'm showing you on shiny sleeves. So, yeah. So cut her out after the fact, and then glued her on this. This the same way. This was a double page spread in a color book, but I added a bunch of watches for the centers of the flowers, painted my own background, added collage, cut her out of a fashion magazine. I think she had a white outfit on, and I painted it pink to match, put a little sleeve on her there with a piece of watch. And so did the whole thing. So if you're willing to have a book or two or a few that you're willing to cut apart or take apart or add things to, you can do so much. So you can just add your own collage on top of your color book pages. Again, if you're just joining us, this is a color book background ideas that we're doing. And again, here's another one out of the Kimono Girl Creative Haven, and just did dots in the background. So let's see if I can get it to get true color there. Let's see. Yeah, it wants to, you know, there's a glare on it. There we go, right there. Yeah. So don't be afraid to cut things out and put them on, especially if you're doing, I saw Tammy started one. Tammy started a 3-ring binder. If y'all haven't followed Tammy on Facebook, she showed a 3-ring binder that she just started. And I would recommend a 3-ring binder. Here's my Jasmine Beckett's. Again, I know some people would never, ever tear out their Jasmine pages out of their book. But, you know, here's the thing, and I mentioned this to Tammy. If you take them out and put them in a binder, you're going to look at them more. Unless I go to work in my Jasmine books, I have the Halloween one and her regular one. Unless I go work in those books, I'm not going to just pull them out and flip through them. And they are one-sided. Now, they do have the information about the facing page, but you could always just write that down and keep that information for that page. So, but they're one-sided, so I don't have any problem cutting them out and putting them in a binder. So these are my Jasmine girls. Again, I've done all my own backgrounds on them. This one. It's all, you know, added paint, and then I painted up her dress like this to look like she's coming out of the waves. I mean, I think there was some lines on her, and I just exaggerated them. Did, you know, all the sky and the glows. Yeah, and I do have a 12 by 12 scrapbook binders too. That's if you want to do larger pages. I have just found that the larger color book pages that are odd sizes, 12 by 12, 9 by 9, or odd size pages that would not fit in your 8.5 binder, 8.5 by 11 binder. Most of those books are, I use a Game of Thrones for an example because it's a good one. They're a story. So if I was ever going to do one like, say, the Game of Thrones, where it has a whole story in it, I would put it in a 12 by 12 binder with those sleeves, the larger sleeves. And then if you color both sides, because it's not a double-sided, I mean, it is a double-sided page. So you'd have to color both and put it in a sleeve with no black, no background. Just put the sheet, the double-sided color book page in the sleeve. So your whole book would be in a notebook. And that I would do if I found a story that I love so much that I wanted to color all the pages and keep them all in its own binder, you know. So this one was, I don't remember the name of this one. It's on the back. I wrote all the information on the backs of the cutout pages. So if I really need to look at which one, the name of it or whatever, I mean, I know they're Jasmine Beckett, Griffith, but if I want to know which one this is, I'll take it out and read the back. So again, I added my own fire here, and then like little mesh, and yeah. And then this one is our mermaid girl. Again, I painted in the stormy sky in the background. Added my own little wispy hairs. So, and all my pages, if you don't even have to follow me on Facebook to see them, so you can see them all on Facebook. This one again added the white splashes, and she does. I will take her out to show you. I got a couple of them here that have glitter. These two do. So this has got stickles on her. So there you go. You can see the stickles. So don't be afraid to add stickles or some kind of a flat glitter. I wouldn't dump glitter on there like glue. Put glue and dump glitter. The reason I wouldn't recommend that, I mean, it would work. Hang on, guys. Let me take a sip of coffee. Is that you'll end up with glitter all over your pages, because that glitter, even though you may think you're gluing it down 100% and really well, it can come up, but stickles won't come up, and then we did our braids and dark skin. Hey Pat, Julie, oh, I already said hi to Pat, Elise, anybody else coming in? If y'all want to talk to me, put it in caps so I know you're talking to me. Because the chat does roll by pretty quickly, so put it in caps. And if you're watching this on, you don't mind having glitter all over. I don't want it in my eyes. Jessica, I don't want glitter in my eyes. I've had two eye surgeries. I don't want any glitter in my eyes. So anyway, sorry, I got off on the glitter now. Oh, so if you're watching on YouTube, this is a live show on Ustream, and thanks for watching the recordings over there. I'm talking to people. I guess you figured that out. All right, this is the one we did for Halloween out of the Jasmine's Halloween book. Again, added glitter in her eyes, her hair, coming out of the jack-o'-lantern. And then again, we painted all this in. So don't be afraid. Well, I know, and some of you guys are afraid to paint and do stuff in your backgrounds. I'll just print you out a copy on some cardstock and practice. If you're afraid of messing up your book, make you a practice page. Print you out a practice sheet so that you can, test out your different mediums on the page. Then there's glitter in his vest. And I did this to make it look like velvet. So it's a couple shades of purple. Same for here and here. So this is not real smooth. It's made to look like velvet. And then, of course, that's all glitter. Glitter on his belt. How about I just don't do anything nice like this? Yeah, and it's just these, they're just the plastic staple sleeves. Nothing fancy. Office supply stuff. Or if you have an old scrapbook book hanging around. Here's the thing about these sleeves, the 8.5 by 11 or 12 by 12. If you have your scrapbook 12 by 12 binder, these smaller ones will fit in there too. I have tons of scrapbook binders 12 by 12 that have some 8.5 by 11 pages worked into it. So the holes are all punched the same, and so this will fit in a 12 by 12 binder as well. Okay, so let's put this back in the sleeve. Again, I took these out because they have glitter and you can't really see them on the... And then here's another one. I don't remember. I think she was also in the Halloween book. It's Stickles, Elise. Stickles. No, I would not use plain. This is just me. Like I just said, I would not use plain glitter and glue because you're not going to get it all glued down. You're going to have loose glitter involved. With Stickles, it's not going to come up. That's not going to come back up. So, yeah, so it's on the cupcakes there. Again, I really like the way her little eyes and face turned out. We have one little speck of glitter in her eyes, which when I photograph these, you can't see the glitter. So that's why I kind of like to show you on a tilt here when you use glitter, because when I photograph them, that doesn't show up. Thanks, Melody. Again, if you're just joining us, we're talking about color book background ideas. Okay? So here is another one where we put like her in a mist. This was out of the Halloween book. I called this one Children of the Corn. I don't remember what Jasmine called it. Yeah, Stickles, Valerie. And then I did my own little wheat things out of her hair. Added all this. Added the clouds in the background. And clouds are very easy to do, guys. I've shown y'all. You can do it with your finger. A finger and a baby wipe. You can do so much with a finger, your finger and a baby wipe. I don't know if I want to take a rabbit trail to kind of show you that. I mean, I could. Let me find a black piece of paper. One moment. Let me move my coffee. I'll be the first one to knock it over. Just take a quick little rabbit trail here. Get some white paint. Okay. So I'm going to put a little bit of white paint. And let me get a baby wipe. Okay, so there's a couple ways to do clouds, mist. I won't do water right now, but let's do what's on the back of that one, okay? So even just with your finger, you can do clouds. You just put some on your finger, and there's a blob of it there, okay? And I know there's a flash right there, guys, from my lamp. Let's see, because now the sun's coming through. Okay, I think it'll be okay. All right, so just kind of just do this. Don't be overly fussy. Let it flow. See? Just kind of let it flow. Make them not perfect. They'll look much more realistic. Don't go in here and do this. And, you know, I mean, you could, but, you know, drag your finger. Well, then use a paintbrush, Karen. You can use a paintbrush. It's just, for me, it's easier. It's just easier to do with a, what do you call it? Okay, let me see. Well, I guess I'll leave it like it is. You can tell that this isn't supposed to be black. Let's see. We're always fussying with the lights. I know. There we go. Because it does want to flash out when I have my, the sun, even though my blinds are closed, the sun is still really strong today. So you can do that. You can take a baby wipe if you don't like, maybe if you can do this, if you don't like to touch paint, put it on a baby wipe. And what I like to do is I like to kind of smushes it into the baby wipe when you do this. And also you can see how much you got on there. Okay? So you can do this if you don't want to touch paint. And you can kind of do the same thing. It's not quite as bright or vibrant because you've got it mushed into the baby wipe. But you can still do it. I use this technique for fog and mist. So if you had something down here and you just want some fog or mist, you see how just lightly going across it. That's how I did this. It was with the baby wipe. Okay. That's with the baby wipe. But, you know, if you want to use a brush, let me grab one here. I don't have one right in front of me. Just take a scruffy brush. Let me get it damp and Now, I'm not going to add any water. I got the brush wet just to keep the bristles damp, but there's no water in here. Okay. Now I'm just going to get some on the brush here. And you can do the same thing that you would do with your fingers. You just got to, you know, be take a little bit more time to do it. It's just, to me, it's so easy just to roll out a cloud with your fingers. But you can do it this way too. Okay? Glad I took the rabbit trail. And then when that dries, let me just give it, well, here, let's go on this one. You can put another cloud in front of it with a brighter white, see? And you can layer up your clouds. So this one would maybe be in front of this one. Okay? And you can always add a little purple or blue or other things in it too. So, and then when this one dries, let's give it a second. And it's kind of the same thing with waves too. You can layer up waves. That's a big one there. Okay, so then just, you know, keep layering in front of each other. And then when it gets pure white, of course, you're just putting white on top of white. But, you know, you can do all kinds of things like this. Okay, so there's our little rabbit trail for clouds, waves, and mist. Alrighty. Thanks, Bunny. Okay, so let's see what else. Now I have all different kind of cutouts here ready to use, including some of my Inktober. Remember when I was in Inktober, these were from 2015 when I did Inktober, all sea stuff. Fish, coral, a lighthouse. So Inktober is started by Mr. Jake Parker, who started Inktober. And what it is you draw in ink, every day for 31 days in October. I've done it the last 2 years, and I'll probably do it again this year just because it's fun, and hashtagging with everybody else that does it, you know, because there's thousands of us that do it, maybe a million, I don't know. But anyway, so what I did is I took some of my Inktober drawings. Yeah, that's what I said. You could put purple or blue or any color in. Yeah, I did that in the color book pages. I just wanted to show y'all how to do it. So anyway, I printed these out on craft paper. And now I can color them and cut them out if I want and use them on other projects. So I did do a few here. Here's a few other ones that I did. These are some other the drawings, the ink drawings, and I did them on white paper, but I copied them off onto craft paper, and it's just really cool. Like that dragon that you saw, my Bennett Klein dragon. That was in black and white. It's the same kind of thing. I'm looking for pins. I got piles of stuff here because I got stencils and stamps and all kinds of stuff here I want to do today. Here we go. So if you print something out on craft paper, like the dragon, like here, let me go back over here and show you. Oh, I haven't got to my Bennett Klein yet. Oh, okay. I haven't got to my Bennett Kleins yet. Have I? Yeah, I did. Here we go. Where's it? Here we go. This dragon. This was printed out on craft paper, and it's only black and white pencil and a white Posca. Okay, so that's all that is. So it's the same type of thing here. If you print something out on craft paper, then you can use your white pencil. It doesn't have to be white. It could be another color. Just white's very dramatic. So just kind of showing you some different things you can do with your color books on background, you know, different kind of backgrounds. Again, if you missed the beginning of the show, I did record it. I also showed you how to do your napkin journal and use your color book pages. So there's just lots of things. Yeah, I'm going to show you some stencils and stamps, and we're going to play a little bit here. So let's finish this up. Just so you can see. This was just one of my Inktober drawings. And they're all posted on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook as well. If you want to see them, they're over there. I know, right? And you can also do shading if you want. You could, you know, add some shading. See how that looks? Maybe just down the middle a little bit, like on the high points. So these were the ones I did. I did 31 in 2015. I did 31 sea things: fish, coral, like I said, lighthouse, a ship wheel, sunken ship. Then I did all kinds of things. I don't have them right. I don't have them right handy. But anyway. And then this last year I started doing kind of, well, here, I think I have those on my phone. Here. It might be easier to see them on my, I think it'd be easier to see them on the iPad. I think I have them on the iPad. Now, Amber, let's see. Sometimes my phone will flash out the camera, but I'll give it a try. Let's go to photographs here. Let me scroll back to some of this year's Inktober. I won't show you all of them. I'll just show you a few. Actually, I think if I go on Instagram, because they're all together on Instagram, because I posted other things. Hang on. I'm trying to find the easiest way to see some of them. Ah, here we go. Okay. So let me start toward the beginning. So the very first one I did last year was this one. I did an Inktober. Well, come on, come on, come on. There we go. I did, and they were all in black and white. I don't think I added any color to any of them. I did them all in black and white. Here we go. A turtle. And they were all on 8.5 by 11 paper. I think 8.5 or 8 by 10 or 8.5 by 11. Another frog. And again, there's 31 of them. A dragon eye over the tree line in a Celtic. I tried to put as much Celtic in as many as I could. Here's a snake with a Celtic design on his back. Whippy does it too. Whippy does, and Janet did it one year too. Inktober. I'm just going to go through them real quick here, guys. And I know they're a little blurry because I'm not focused, but let me skip. Skip over. Here's an alligator. So I tried to do, I think I started wanting to do all the reptiles. So I did a turtle, alligator. Here's a horned toad. If you're in Texas, you know what those are. And I did splatters on all of them. I did little chameleons. Here's a Komodo dragon. And they all have splatters. I did a bat. And then I started running out of, like, here's a turtle's face. I started running in some Celtic designs. I started running out of lizards and things to do. There's one of those running lizards. Yeah, I made them come out of the frame borders. Exactly. Like, here's a good example. So then I went into owls, an owl. But yeah, I did a like kind of a black frame. This is the whole sheet right there. And then what I did is kind of made them come out of the black border. What else is there? Here's dinosaur bones. And then it got closer to Halloween, so I did, there's a black cat with like his little paw maybe in some, I don't know, he maybe caught him a mouse there. But look, the rat got the last word. On top of the cat. There's a little spider web, a little spider there. Then I did some jack-o'-lanterns. Here's a ode to Poe, the raven. So that's white Posca on top of black ink. I know it's a rabbit trail, guys. We do that here. If you're watching on YouTube and you don't want to see this, just fast forward. You don't, just fast forward. That's all you got to do. It's very simple. There's a little bar at the bottom that slides. Just slide it. Okay, here's a castle with the bat flying in front of the moon. Here's a dragon. Thanks, Dixie. And hi, by the way. Here's some gargoyles. And so what I'm trying to show you is you can print any of these out on craft color and then do other things. Here's a kind of a spooky scarecrow. A spider web. Thanks, Taps. Taps Ghost probably does. And then the very end, the last one I did was Welcome Great Pumpkin. I did a little ode to Charlie Brown. So, and there's other ones in there too. But what I'm trying to say is you can print them out like this and add your own, whether it's white or a color or whatever. Okay? So, and then here's my sea turtles. And you could also paint these, and depending on your printer ink. My printer ink doesn't smear as easily as some. It's an Epson, but sometimes some of the printer's ink will smear, so you got to be careful of that. But if you're just using color pencil, you don't have to worry about it because you're not going to smear your ink as long as it's dry, of course. I mean, you know, the second it comes out of your printer, don't try to color pencil on it. Hey, Muse. Thanks, Muse. Hey, Mel. So there we go. That's some ideas to do. Again, I have all different kind of color book bits here. You know, I got, there's a spider, a grasshopper, there's a shell. There's other things in here that I can cut out and use in our art journal, magazine journal. There's a, look there, Janet. Janet sent me that. So different things, different color book pages. Here's one that I copied and cut out from the Look book. Here's one, and I cut her out, and I want to put her on a art journal page. So I got her ready to go on something. But anyway, if you keep a binder like this, here's where I turned my pea sloth, which is this guy. This is my pea sloth. He's a poster, and I know I want to get him on Society 6. Anyway, I turned him into a color book page. This one Mom sent me. What else do I have in here? Here's one I did from the comic book color book. Yeah. What else do I have in here? Here's one from Mary Englebright. I love doing the ombre lettering. So this one's from the Mary Englebright. But see, I left this one blank in the back. So a notebook, whether it's an 8.5 by 11, just standard notebook, or your big 12 by 12 ones. Mel, this was the craft ones were just craft cardstock, like the what's the Michaels brand or the Hobby Lobby brand. It's just cardstock, craft cardstock. But you can print it out on anything, you know, other colors. This one is out of the Somerset Studio color book, and I added my own collage bits and gave her a crown with collage bits. And same thing for this. I added, that's all cutouts of jewelry, or no, it wasn't a jewelry. Maybe it was a watch. Anyway, gave her a necklace and kind of made her like, you know, Cleopatra or something. These are also out of the Somerset Studio, and here I did drips. They actually put this one in there. They put this one in one of the backs of their color book publications the next month. Because they saw this one on, because I follow them on Twitter and Instagram, you know, follow them everywhere. And so they put this one on their, the next issue of their color book. Hey, Clarissa. So here's where you can do drips. But you got to be brave, guys, because you got to do all the coloring first, right? So you have to do all the coloring and then take the risk and let paint go right over the top. And then I added a little bit of mist here and some water at the bottom. But you got to be brave. And if you're afraid to do that, make a copy. Just make a copy to practice on. And then when you see you can do it, then do it in your book. And these are all right out of the book. I just tear them right out of the book and put them in here. I personally don't make a lot of copies of things because I'm not afraid of it. If it messes up, I don't care. I mean, I care, but, you know, it's not like, it's okay. You can usually fix anything with paint. This was Tim Holtz designed this page for the color book, the Somerset Studio Color Studio. And it was a Tim Holtz page, but I added a watch face, added watch hands. I added some cutout gears from the silhouette, you know, another gear there that's cut out. And then, you know, just, I think I started with the Neo Color wash. Maybe it was ink tints. I don't even remember. This one is all done with Crayola crayons. This is just a set of Crayola crayons. We did all of it just to show that you can just use colors, Crayola colors. And so did that one. And then this one was out of, What was this one out of? We just did this one a couple weeks ago. This one is out of the Gothic Special by Selena Finich. Okay, and again, I painted in the background, but because you have paint on there, see how you can do things like this? That is because it's on top of paint. Same thing for this hair flowing out like that. You can't really get that good of effect. You could really push real hard with your white pencil and get that on top of black pencil, but it just doesn't work the same. And I know I've shown y'all. I'll do one more rabbit trail. And guys, you know, if you're watching this on YouTube and you don't like that I do rabbit trails, my show's not for you, because literally every show we have rabbit trails. So just move along. Okay, so let me get I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous when people say, you talk too much, you chat too much. It's a chat show. But I gotta say, 99% of the people that comment on my YouTube are so happy I upload to YouTube. They're all so sweet, and I appreciate every one of my YouTubers. Just love them. Just saying. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little quick thing here. I'm going to put down some black paint. Now, you have to always remember also to let everything dry. Let everything dry. So I'm just going to, because this is just a quick little demo here. Let me move that out of the way. Get that baby white. What do I do with that baby white? Throw it in the trash. Sorry for the squeaky chair. Okay, let me just hit this with the heat gun so it just takes a minute. They are super sweet, and Marilyn's like my mod over there, so thank you, Marilyn. Here comes Peter Condelli. Yep, Suzanne, exactly. So I'm gonna, and thank goodness my 25-year-old heat gun did not, in fact, give up the ghost. It's still alive. It's alive. It's alive. Sorry. Okay. It's got a little bit of wet there still. So what I wanted to show you. Oh wait, I need my black pencil. I need a black pencil. Where is the black? Hang on. I got piles of stencils here. We're going to get to in a minute. Okay. So here's some black acrylic paint. Now I'm going to do the same thing here. I want to get a black. So let's just say you colored the background of your whatever solid black pencil. Okay, you wanted it solid black. Oh, you found me from YouTube, Patty? Thanks. All right, so this is why I like to paint the background black and see how the little glow and the hair sticking out and the little glow around her head. If that was with color pencil, no matter how hard, now look, I'm gonna really bear down. I'm bearing down really hard. Look at that. You're not going to get any white on top of that solid black pencil. You too, Valerie? Oh, okay, thanks. Well, good to have you guys here. I know, and my shows are long. They're chatty. They're rabbit trail-y. But I show everything. I talk about the steps. I talk about what's in my head. Every process I do, I try to explain fully every time I do it. So if you don't want to see the same things over and over, just see, oh, that's Color Book and that's Imagimorphia, I'll skip that. You know, but because the rabbit trails come up because of questions in the chat, I'll take the time to answer questions, and I take the time to do little demos like this for you guys. I know how to do this already. I already know how to do this. Okay, so that's what happens when you go over on solid black. Thanks, Kenny. That's what you do when you go over solid black pencil. Now with the same pencil, I'm not going to bear down at all, but watch this. Well, I got to have something to push on. And then if I do bear down a little more, I can almost get back to pure white. You can't get that on top of pencil. So that is how you do, let's just say there's a moon here. That's how you get these glows. That's how you can do these little um, things like this. That's how you can do little stars and you can do shooting stars. You can do all this because it's on acrylic paint. You can't do that on top of pencil. Okay? And I use this exact same technique in my mixed media collage art journals. I can put pencil on top of acrylic paint. Pencil on top of acrylic paint. See? Let me find one pen. I'm not going to go through this now because I'm going to get off on another rabbit trail. So you can see you can add all kinds of pencil effects on top of acrylic. So there's that little demo. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to get back to some more examples. And then this one was out of also the this was out of Dreams of Dragons by Ravine, P-H-E-L-A-N, Phelan. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Oh, well, I'll take this one out too because it's completely stickled. Again, you know, you can do backgrounds like this, but look at all the stickles on this one. He's almost completely stickled with glitter. Okay. Hey, Paula. You got your brother. Oh, Paula, I hope you'll be able to stream tonight. We all hope you will. Oh, I gotta say, I don't know. Is Eileen here? I think Paula's gonna buy some brushes. I don't see her yet. I think she's gonna buy some brushes. Maybe she'll show them on her stream tonight. Hey, Vicky, yes. So yeah, there you go. You can see it right there. Let me tilt it a little so you can see. And we try to do some kind of a dragon skin look here. And then the scales are all in here. Okay, so moving on. We're talking, if you're just joining us, we're talking about color book background ideas. And what you can do for different kind of background ideas. Do I have anything else in this one? I think that might be it in here for now. So let's move that off the table. All right. That bad boy's amazing. Thanks, Janet. That bad boy's amazing. Now look, I picked this up out of this is half of my viewfinder. If I could find the other half, I could show you what you can do with viewfinders. But that'll be another rabbit trail for another day. All righty. And maybe Monday, I don't know, maybe Monday we're going to do the illustration art board and do some testing on this to see how well it works with watercolor and different mediums. I got that. That was part of my Hobby Lobby haul last Saturday. Okay, so back to Imagimorphia and stencils. Oh, let me take another sidebar here. Hey, one more sidebar. I did a 2-part show on Monday on Mysterious Library, and as y'all know, it happens occasionally. It doesn't happen, it happens to all of us, but it just doesn't happen that often, that sometimes there's a glitch in the YouTube upload. And so part 2, where I worked on this, it is on Ustream, guys, if you really want to see this, but it's not uploading to YouTube. So if you want to see this, then you can just go over to YouTube. I mean Ustream. But we did almost all of this, but I did go back and shade a little bit in her dress later. I did finish her hair. And I started adding in some of the little details here, and I'm coordinating it with these colors so far. Yeah, it didn't I tried a whole bunch of times, and that happens to all of us, guys. Occasionally, there's a glitch in the upload, and it just happens. So anyway, but what I wanted to show you was Eileen, when she was here when we did this, said it looked, because I said her hair looked like yarn. Well, she goes, put some knitting needles in it. So I added knitting needles to her hair. Again, another example of you don't have to just leave the color book pages like they are. You are the boss of your color book. Change it up any way you want. You can do whatever you want. It's your color book. So I added some knitting needles to her hair and some little strands of hair connecting it. And I love that. So thank you so much, Eileen, for that idea. And so, yeah, I finished coloring in the little centers of the flowers, and I'm leaving the back of her dress white. I did do a little bit of shading here. There's not a whole lot done on part 2, it just because it took so long. It took so long to do all this that it took up pretty much a whole part 2. And I will post a picture of it when I'm completely done. But I also wanted to show you other things that I'm doing in the book. And remember, I am using the Crayola markers a lot in this one. These are the Crayola Super Tip cheap markers. I loved her hair too, Mel G. Hey, Carla. So I'm using the cheap Crayola markers. I should say inexpensive because they're not cheap. They work. I mean, they are cheap. You can get 50 of them for $10, and then if you use a coupon, you can get them for like $5, $6, $7 for 50. And they last forever. I think there's only a couple that I've used that are starting to run low. But I'm telling you, they last a long time. So I'm using them as a lot in the base of this, like all the little flowers have some marker and, and then shaded with pencil. Her hair started out with just a flat color of orange. Her whole hair I colored with orange all the way through, just flat orange. Okay. Then I went in with red and I'll just say this because part 2 didn't upload. Then I went in with red and just did like some of the lines where her red hair, where the lines of the color book are. And I followed the lines of the braids. And then I went in with 2 shades of red, Tuscan red and Carmine red. Where's my Tuscan? Well, this one's not Tuscan, I don't think. But anyway, I went in there and did the darker shadows in between the braids, and then I blended it out with Carmine red. And that's it. It's an orange marker, a red marker, a Tuscan red marker, a Tuscan red Prismacolor, and a Carmine red. And that, hi Army Linda. And that's it. It's all done with that, with those colors. So anyway, and then I'm going in and I've done a little bit of detail. But what I'm doing with this book is this is my chill book. So whenever I'm just sitting around like Hubster and he's reading or something, or we're watching TV, I'll have this book and my little bucket here. It's actually one of the drawers out of my little organizer drawer thing. And of course I bundle them by color. These are just the ones that I'm using right now, so they're not in the bundles. But I had bundled them, by color. Pinks, light pinks, yellows, greens, purple. So if I need a color, I just pull out my greens. These are the light greens. These are the dark greens. And these are this is probably about 2.5, maybe 3 sets of these. But you get a good amount, of colors. And when you get the set of 50, it's no duplicate. There's 50 different colors. And if you see the ones with the black handle, those are scented. Yummy. Especially the yellow and orange. They smell just like Fruit Loops. So then I can just take my bundle like this and go like this, find the color I want, pull it out, and then stick it right back in the bundle. Okay? So that's what I'm doing in this book. And then when I have more time, I'll go back and shade. For example, this page. Where's that page? Where's that page? Well, I'm doing it in 2 books. So, well, let me just go with this. All right, here's an example. So this is all done with green, 2 shades of green marker, a little bit of yellow marker. There's no shading yet here. My pack 100 had greatest selection of color. You only got 1 red. 50 more. I've never been able to find the set of 100. My Hobby Lobby and Michael's and Walmart only have the set of 50. I know you can buy anything online, guys. Yeah. So, well, the scented ones with the black handle, they come in a set. There's like 10 scented ones included with 40 or 50. I don't even remember. They're a couple years old. I don't even know if they make the scented ones anymore. So here I've used 2 colors of green marker. Now it's a little scratchy, you know, but I didn't take a lot of time to do this. I just wanted to get the color down because I know I'm going to go in here now and let's see if I can just find a green right handy. I got so many stencils and things here, guys. Let me just find a so I can go in here now and I'll start shading on top of the marker. And putting a marker down or a wash of watercolor or any of it, it kind of speeds up the process, but it's also something that when you're sitting and just watching TV or something, you can have just a marker. I've done in a couple of books this thing. I've got a couple going where I'm just using, well, I start with markers. And what you can do is you don't have to think about anything. You just pick up the reds. That's I did that in this one. In the, I'll show you that one here in a second. In the Color Me Enchanted, I'll show you that in a minute too. I'm kind of doing the same thing. So you can just kind of start shading. Uh-oh, don't fall off the table there. That would be, as Paula would say, bad news. Then I'll take the lighter one and I can just kind of blend it in a little bit. And you can take your time. You can do as much or as little detail as you want. But in the meantime, you're sitting there and you've got a marker in your hand. And you could do every single thing in the book with one color, the color. Oh, did you guys hear the Crayola's removing color? Removing a color from there. Oh, so they haven't announced what color they're removing? No, I hadn't heard that. That they're removing a color. But I have my, where is it? Yeah. I have my emergency 24 from Sister Woman Jonna, a travel emergency crayon sniff box, because you know, every now and then you just gotta sniff them. Here, y'all take a sniff. Ah, they smell so good. So Jonna, Sister Woman, made me a travel one a few years ago. Of course, I had my 96 set and all that too. Okay, so anyway, I want to finish this up so I can get on back to the backgrounds. But I just kind of wanted to show you that one page that I didn't get to show you because part 2 didn't upload. So again, just take your pencils and now you can start shading and blending and coloring on top of your marker. So I've started some, like, all right, here's one. So this candy here, this is just with marker, orange, yellow, and pink. And I've just gone on there and done some orange, yellow, and pink. I know, right? I love the smell of crayons in the morning. So this is the kind of stuff, if you just have one marker in your hand and you're watching TV, I mean, just even doing all the pink you'd want to do on this page would probably take you, you know, the night. Hey, Anita. So let me just do a flip here, because I've only done a few in this one. Just a few, maybe just those couple. Okay, here's the one I was saving for you guys. I wanted to show you this. So this one, I wish Laura was here. Hey, LB Worm. Crayons and coffee. Yes, yes, exactly, Steffi. Okay, so because Laura's the one that made me buy this. Well, she didn't make me. She enabled me to buy this book. And then, of course, when I bought this, I had to buy 2 others. Anyway, bam! All the red and black you see here, I just took my red and black Crayola markers and did all the hearts, diamonds, spades, and clubs. Now, I'm sure there's some I'm missing here or there, some tiny ones. but that's the general gist of it. So all the black and red here I did with those markers, including some of these black lines here. I kind of added thicker lines here with the black. So I did add, so all that black you see is in red. Thanks, Kmore. So, and then I did the backs of the cards in a Harlequin design. So yeah. So there you go. Then I did the back of her dress. The little designs in her dress are little mini hearts. So those are all in red. Did her belt. There's a rose there. There's a black hat there. Some more of the little backs and fronts of the card. So I just spent, and it probably took me, all this probably took, and I don't want to say because then people go, well, that only didn't take you long, but it would take me weeks. Well, you'd be surprised once you start coloring how quickly it does go. So, thanks, guys. Thanks. I think it was fun. So just what I'm showing you, though, is you can take a couple of markers and just sit in front of the TV and just color all that without even thinking. There's no thought to this, right? You're just looking for shapes. So that's what I'm working on in the Mysterious Library. And then again, in the Color Me Enchanted is another one. I'm using markers and going through, like here. These were our inspiration colors for the girl, for this girl that was in this book that we did. Her. These colors here, I was inspired from doing these fruits right here in those same exact colors. Okay. Let's see what else. So here's some yellow marker, some orange marker with some orange shading on top. So you can just, take a color or two, even if you just took red, yellow, and blue and went through the whole book and colored everything those colors. Here's a ribbon. This is without shading, and that's with shading. This one, a lemon peel. And this is the one that I've got the farthest with. And here's another example of a background. Because I painted the background of this black acrylic paint, and again, I just use Americana Deco Art, Americana craft paint. Don't get gloss, don't get shiny or satin. Just get the plain flat matte. It doesn't say matte on it, but it doesn't say shiny or glossy or satin or anything. And so it's a matte black, and because I painted it, I was able to do these stars. This is what I was talking about earlier. You can do glows. So all this green right here you see, that's all color pencil. Dark green, light green, and a little white. Those rays, that's color pencil. Same thing around the fire here, but the reason it works is because of the paint. Okay, so there's my Sacred Heart one. What else have I done in here? This one right here is going to have like pears, there's bananas, a lot of fruit and dishes. And this one I've started with all the little red roses and did her lips in red. This one, now the black on this, in this case, the black was already on this page. Her kimono already had that on there, but I added all the red, and I haven't done any blending or anything yet. It's just the marker. But this kind of idea to do this, you have to be willing to move from page to page to page. And that's how I'm working in Imagimorphia and Anamorphia and probably in Mythmorphia when I get it, is I move from page to page. I know I'm more likely to complete a book if I'm not working on just one solid page, because if you get stuck on one page and either you don't like it, you get bored with it, you don't want to finish it, and you're forcing yourself to finish it before you move on, you'll probably never go back to that book, because that page is just sitting there calling you and saying, finish me, finish me. Well, all you have to say is, no, I'm the boss of my color book. I'm not going to finish you. I'm moving on. Moving forward. Okay. So back to our idea for some, and again, I got so much stuff here. So I pulled out some stencils and stamps because Janet worked with some stencils. I've only watched half of her show this morning, her recording from last night on using stencils. But I said, you know what? Yeah, Janet, I'm pulling out some stencils and some stamps. So in the meantime, let's see if I can move some of these markers out of the way, some of these pencils, because I did pull some stamps. Not a lot. I have a bucket over here, but I pulled a few stamps and some stencils. Now I have a pack of stencils here. I got to keep moving. I'm just shuffling my Prismas over to the side, the ones I'm in process of using, you know, because I don't want to put them away because I'm using them. So anyway, let's move this over here. That'll hold them. There we go. Now they're stuck over there. Mysterious Highway is on its way to your house. Oh, good, K-More. So anyway, I pulled out a bunch of stencils, and I haven't picked any out. I also just picked a few stamps because you can use acrylic textury stamps. I think this might be a Tim Holtz. I don't remember. Now, if you do use acrylic paint, make sure you wash these out really well, because if acrylic paint gets dried in there, then your stamps are not going to be any good. Actually, if you want to use acrylic paint, these are the best ones to use. Foam. These are the foam kind, right? This kind here, foam. Here's another foam one. And then, of course, ink is best with these. Here's one of my carved bees. If a carved one like this, it's not too hard. And you just take a toothbrush. Not your one you use all the time. Take an old toothbrush and clean it out, you know, while you're washing it under water, so that you clean them out. When I stamp with permanent archival stamp ink, I don't care if the stamp turns black and never comes off again. That doesn't matter. Please tell me you're not going to glue. No, I'm not going to. Paula. I'm not going to glue a stencil in my color. I wish I knew where that art journal was right off the bat. That's a standing joke from probably 6 years ago. I was talking about how you can use anything in your art journals, and if your stencil gets old and crusty, just glue it into your art journal. So I took an actual stencil and glued it in to my art journal. Oh no, it was. I did one in an art journal, but I also did one. Where's that piece? On a canvas. Wait. let me. I'm going in, people. I'm going under the table. Hang on. Let's see if I can find it, because I have all kinds of paintings on boards where I show how to, I don't know if you can even hear me. I show you how to do the mixed media collage on canvas, or to take one of your mixed media collage pieces and turn it into a painting. So let me see if I can find that one on the stencil. Paula, you're so bad. Oh my gosh, let me see. I'm looking, guys. Hang on. I'm flipping through canvases. Hang on. Flipping through canvases. Oh, here's a frog I was working on. This is one of my old oil paintings. That just happened to be in there. Let's see. Hang on. I'm looking for... Here we go. I found it. I'll show you another rabbit trail, people. I love it. I love me some rabbit trails. Okay. Wait for it. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. Here. This is one of my mixed media collage pieces. It's just like I do in my art journal or my reverse collage or whatever, but this is just a mixed media collage piece, right? And there's a glued on stencil. That's glued on. But what I wanted to show you with this is even if you do a mixed media piece, and again, just take it as a new way to do backgrounds. So I loved this especially, okay? I love this part right here. I love the way that turned out, right? And I wanted to do a painting of that. So what I did is I took a picture of that area, okay? I just printed out a picture of this collage. And then I turned it into turned it into this. So I took this and turned it into this and made a painting out of it. This is all paint. This is no collage. No, this is just acrylic paint. All of this is just acrylic paint from this little bit right here. I love that little bit. So I turned it into a painting. So anyway, I just had to show you that because that had the stencil. That's one. I think there's one in a journal too, Paula. Okay, back to this. So again, if you're going to use your stamps on your backgrounds, you know, you have to depends on the size and the piece. So I have two different versions of things here in Anamorphia. One is where he is left, Kirby is left, big areas for you to fill in, right? Thanks, Mel. He's left you, there's two of them that I have bookmarked here, that one and this one. He left you, and there's more than these, but I just bookmarked these two. Fill in the butterflies with detail. Well, if you don't want to Zentangle or fill these in, you could do it with your stamps. Now, I know someone's thinking, well, how do you mask that off? Well, you could just mask it off. I mean, if you've ever done any stamping in the past, you know it's possible to mask off your areas where you don't want the stamps to flow over, right? However, because we're the boss of our color book, we can go out of lines and then paint the background. So let's do that. So I just picked these for now. I mean, I've got, you know, if y'all want to see some more ideas for stamps, I got here's a whole bucket here of foam ones, hand carved ones. This is just a whole bucket of things that I kind of like for texture. Here's my hand carved one. Just all different kinds. And I like these for backgrounds, textures, you know, those little leaves. And look, see, I got some on my hand. Well, some of that's black paint when I was doing my thing, but these are not the cleanest things. And here's a good one. That one's got a little weave to it. Here's another rubber kind there. Just all different kinds. You can even use little tubes for circles. That's a good one too. Maybe we'll do a little with that because that shows you can use. You don't have to have actual stamps. You can either carve your own. Here's one of my hand carved gargoyles. And I would carve on the back of these magic rubs. These white. There's my initials. I've carved, I don't know how many alphabets, at least 3 full alphabets. I've carved a Gothic. I've carved the Hebrew alphabet. I've carved all kinds of alphabets. This was my gears that I carved because Paula was carving gears at one time. So this one's my Paula-inspired gear. You know, then these are those little foam, double-sided foam ones. So here's another hand-carved one. Another hand-carved gear. So yeah, so I have a bunch to pick from, but I just picked these out this morning because they were kind of random. Let me get some of the ink off my hands now, guys. All right, so we're going to start with some stamps, and I probably won't finish these pages because I just want to give you guys the idea. And if I sit and finish a whole page, okay, got a little dark again. If I finish a whole page, then we're not going to move on to any other pages, right? So I really want to, there we go. The light went away from the sun, and then it got too dark in here. All right, if y'all have any questions, put them in caps because, you know, the chat rolls by. All right, so you can do this a couple different ways, and I'm going to. We'll do some with ink, because, you know, I just got some new inks here. I got the new Plum. These are on sale at Hobby Lobby. They're normally like $6 and something. I got them for $3 and change. A Plum and a cornflower blue. So maybe all this page could be in, you know, let's just start with the cornflower blue. and then I can decide what kind of textures. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep this as a sample page for you guys. If I was going to do this, I'd probably do them in a couple, you know, coordinating designs, but I'm going to use all of them just to show you guys different ways that they'll look with different stamps. Okay, so I'm going to start with the cornflower blue here. And see, he's got some here filled in. I gotta say, guys, this is not a page I would ever finish. I mean, ever really color. Unless I was just like at the end of completing this whole entire color book, and then I only had a couple of these kind of pages left, then I'd finish them. Okay, so let's start with these little dots. And you always want to, where's my little test paper I had sitting here? Hang on. Here we go. I have some little test sheets, you know, where we've been practicing with, you know, these other examples. Okay, so I just want to make sure that it's, see, I didn't get that part completely inked up. Okay, so I'm going to ink it up well. Yeah, oh, tons of things. You can use bubble wrap. Oh, I got drawers full of foam stamps from back when we scrapbooked with foam stamps. All the alphabets and all kinds of designs and stuff. I just pulled these out of my smaller bucket O stamps. All right, so, and you probably, well, I think that's enough cushioning. I have my stamp cushion because Rachel yell at me. All right, so what I want to show you is if you want to do random designs, and even if you kind of wanted them to kind of be sort of close, and even if they overlapped a little, which I'm doing on purpose, just a little, just to show you, fear not. Fear not. Okay, so I'm going to just do the whole thing. And again, if you don't like them not being so imperfect, then take more time. I'm just showing you the idea, right? Let's see, I think I need a double over there, just so that has a little bit of shade. Now, here's why I'm not worried about going out of lines. And this could be anything, guys. And I'm going to use some of these other ones too to show you. And then these you can use paint with. Acrylic paint on your foam ones. But what my point is to show you, I think I need a little bit more black paint, how if you go out of lines and you know you're going to paint the background a solid color, then don't worry about it, because then when you go to paint your background, it's all going to be covered up. Okay, again, you can be as neat as you want on the stamping process. I'm not a very neat stamper, but I'm trying to show you the process here where you can pattern it in yourself. Hey, Laura. So just, we're covering a lot of stuff today. Right now I'm trying to show all different kinds of color book backgrounds. But we've already been here an hour and a half, so we've covered quite a bit of stuff. So I am recording. So I'm not going to finish this. Again, I just want to give you all the idea of another way to use your stuff in your color book, in your backgrounds. So because you're covering, whoops, got some white in there. Because you're covering up where you went out of the lines, it doesn't matter. Again, be neater. I'm being quick here just for the sake of the show. Okay? So you can use your stamps for the stuff like this. All right, so now I'm going to use a different stamp design. Let's see, which one did I pick here? Let's go with, let's just go, well, that's so much the same. Well, this is a checkerboard. It's kind of the same too, but I'm just going to, so I'm just going to just use a part of it here. But I just want you to see, all right, let's go on one of these little ones here. So you could take a stamp that has a full design and cover up the whole butterfly. Okay, and again, got some water on the handle. And this is probably a little bigger brush than I should use, but just paint around your stamped area, and you're left with the image. And when there's any kind of like antennas or anything like that, I usually just paint over them It's easier for me, in my opinion, just to paint right over those things and then draw them back in with a white pen or color pencil, because color pencil will go over acrylic paint. All right, so see? So there we go. So there's a little messier version. There's a little neater version. Now you can also take acrylic, like these are some swirls. Let me see what kind of paint. Let's get a pretty color here to do that. Get a pretty fuchsia maybe. And what I do when I put acrylic paint on these foam stamps is I use, where's my brush? Hang on, I'm not sure where I put my foam. Okay, got one sitting here. I use these makeup wedges. Okay. Will any color acrylic paint cover the stamp? I'm not sure what you mean. It depends on how thick. There's no water in this. There's no water in that paint, so it's going to cover anything. Now, some of the colors, like red, yellow, and lime green, sometimes they need 2 coats. But yeah, it'll cover it. It should. I've never had a problem doing it. And, you know, if you're afraid, remember, always do a test if you're afraid. All right, so I'm going to take this swirl, and no water in here. If you add water to your acrylic paints and tap it on, you're going to have water rings come out from your stamping. So you just want to use solid, no water. No water. I can't stress that enough. Okay. So I'm just tapping it on like that. And then you can be more careful, or you know how careful you want to be. And again, I'm not a professional good stamper like some of the girls. And then maybe we'll use, will that one work? I think that one might work. So use your stamps and stencils, which we're going to do stenciling here in a minute. So I got that little guy. It's a reverse stamp. And maybe put that on here. Oops. So you can do stuff like this. And then you can get in there and color or do other things too. You can do Zentangling around it. You could just color it a solid color. But what I'm trying to show you is and you do want to wash these off. I'm going to use a baby wipe. Don't let acrylic paint dry on your foam stamps because they'll get hard. Yeah, I do, Laura, I do. I do clean my stamps right after. Well, if I use archival black ink and it stains the stamp, that's not going to come off anyway. And it's dry and it's permanent, so I don't worry about that. Okay? But paint you always want to get off. Okay? Because paint will ruin your stamps. It'll harden your image, or if it's a small stamp, it'll get in there and dry and, you know, yeah. So use a toothbrush if you do that. Okay, but I'm just going to clean these off with a baby wipe. And then if you drop your sponges back into the water while you're working, then they'll stay moist enough until you get to cleaning them. So I usually just drop this in my water bucket. But if you ever do have them get hard on the ends like that, just cut it off. Like after that's dry, you can just take your scissors and cut that off. And then you got a full sponge again. But I'm going to continue to use it here. All right, so there's some stamping ideas. Again, I know you all probably have thousands more. And you can also do this on the backgrounds, okay? You can stencil and stamp backgrounds. Now, that's what I want to do on this one. Okay, that was a stencil background one. Here's another one. And I just said stencil, then paint, or stamp, then paint. So this one I'm going to try to do a stenciling idea on. Now, I don't want purple, though. Let's see, do I have any more makeup wedges sitting here? Yeah, this one. Okay. I only have 2 sitting here. I've got a bag of them somewhere. So I want to, yeah. Oh, that's another tip. If you go to wash these out, if you wash them out and want to start reusing them again, don't use a wet one. Make sure these are dry when you use them. And the reason being is if these are wet and you're dabbing in paint, there's a lot of water in there, a lot more than you think. And if you start stamping, it's going to be all wet and splotchy, especially on stencils. If you want to do stencils where you don't want it to go under, then you don't want to don't use a wet one of these. Make sure it's dry, okay? All right, so let me kind of move some stuff. Let me shift some inks out of the way here and some stamps out of the way because I want to do a little stencil bit. Oh, I didn't use my B. We'll have to try that on something here in a minute, too. Okay. Have to make room because I've got to stay right here under camera. All right, so now I have my big thing of stencils here. I haven't planned it out, which stencil. You know, some people go, you don't plan your shows. You're right, I don't. I like to have fun with my shows. You know, sometimes I'll have a general idea, like when I started this morning, I did not know I was going to use stencils. I saw Janet using stencils on her show, and I said, oh, that'd be fun to try to show. Let's do a color book background show. I decided that at 8 a.m. this morning, and that's as far as I planned. And now here we are, and we're having fun. Okay, so let me show you some of the stencils here. I don't know, well, maybe I'll just pull these out and show you some different ones because I'll clean it up after the show. That's what we do, we streamers. We clean up after the show. And I just keep them in one of these plastic 12 by 12. They were made for scrapbook papers. You know, these little sleeves. They're kind of clear, pink, blue, all colors. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'll just throw them down here as I go. Now, before I had many stencils and way before I had a cameo, and they are going to be a little stuck together here, a lot of the girls would send me their cutouts when they had their cameos and their cut machines. So a lot of these, now these particular ones are from a scrapbook paper. This was a 12 by 12 scrapbook paper that I used as a stencil. And I used and used and used, and you can see this is ready to be glued down into a journal, Paula. If you all missed it, hang on. Here's a collage I did that I actually glued a real stencil down to. And from this collage, we did, I say we, you know, because most of the time y'all are here. I did this is a full acrylic painting, no collage, just paint. But this is the collage I took it from, and it has a glued on stencil. And yeah, I freaked Paula out one year. Anyway, so these are from a 12 by 12 scrapbook paper that I've just used, and it's kind of like, you know, shot now. But, you know, there's a little bit here. We could probably use that. Anyway, so the girls would cut me out all kinds of things, borders and little edges, and all this kind of stuff you can use in your scrapbook paper. Look, your color book pages. So reuse your, what you might have used in your mixed media, your art journaling, your scrapbooking, and incorporate it into your color books. Even if you want to just glue this in. Now, here's my caveat for gluing things in a color book. I would not glue things in a color book. I would tear the page out or make a copy and work on it separately. The reason is if you have something like this glued into your color book on one side and you turn the page to work on the other side and you start color penciling, you're going to pick that up. I don't think I have a paper here. Let's see. So for instance, if this is on the back side of your color book, let me find a space here. Don't have a space. So if you have a color book, and this is glued on one side, let's just say that's glued on the back side, and you turn the page and you want to color on this side. So you start coloring, let me get a dark pencil, it'll show up. You start coloring on the back side, and let's say, oh, that's such a pretty dress. I'm going to color her dress. That's what's going to happen. So don't glue things in your color book. Either make a copy of the page you want to do mixed media on, or tear it out and do it, but don't leave it in the book because then the back side is going to have this happen. Now, if it's a one-sided page, it doesn't matter, right? But, well, it kind of does, because even if you flip 2 pages, you'd probably still pick up the texture. So anyway, I just got all kinds of little stamps. This might have been a jean one. I don't know. I can't remember who sent me what. But I got all kinds of cutouts and stencils. So what I want to try to do is show and try and test how we can use some of these stencils in the backgrounds or on top of our images in our color books. But again, I would take them out of the color book if you're gonna glue these in. Now, if you're just gonna stencil, it's no big deal. It's just paint, right? All right, so I'm kind of flipping through here. So again, this is a hot mess. I really need to put these. I do have some in sleeves. Look, here's some in sleeves. This is originally. Yeah, it's just like rubbings. Yeah, it would be a rubbing, and you'll see it on the back page. I did have them all kind of organized in sleeves at one time, but then we did some project. I dumped them all out. Didn't feel like putting them all back in their sleeves. So here's where we are. They all go back in the blue binder, but so here's some. I think these were some faux ephemera from K & Company. These might work on something. I'll pull those out. See, doilies, paper doilies. And if you have a cutter, you know, you can cut any stencil shape out you want. You don't have to buy any stencils. If you have a cameo silhouette or any of the cutters, you don't need to buy any of these. Don't want to lose that little stamp. So here's, remember Punchinella? We use this stuff. I think if you have ever art journaled in the last 20 years, you have a page with this. Who doesn't have a Punchinella page in their art journal? Raise your hand. I know that none of y'all are going to raise your hand. Thanks. You think they're good tips? Thanks, Julie. This is a piece of a stained glass window. Yeah, who knows, you know, or a fence, or I don't know. This was a pack of stencils I bought at Hobby Lobby that came in this. So it says stencils from Xmedia, and it has all these designs in it. And I think I got this for a couple bucks. And you can see I've just used them minimally. Here's one I think I was going to use in an art journal. And so I painted that stencil, probably to glue in. But these are all just cardstock ones. If you want your cardstock stencils to last longer, cover them with matte medium. Be careful, do it lightly, because if you put a lot of matte medium or any kind of coating, it's probably best if you use kind of a spray, because if you don't do it cleanly and neatly, you're going to have blobs of paint in those corners, you know. So I'm just showing you some of the ones here. You bought these too, Carol Renee? Yeah. I probably use this one as a honeycomb for my bee. That was fun. Maybe I'll put that one over here in the other pile, in a new pile. Okay, so let's see here. I'm not sure. These are some just plastic ones. And how big of a stencil you want to use is going to depend on the area that you want to stencil, right? It's going to depend on how much real estate you have. Here's a bunch of paper doilies. These are all doilies that have cool designs to use. So there's a folder full of those. I love these. I first saw Paula use, I don't know if it's the exact same set that Paula had, but she had one of these stained glass window sets from, somebody will tell me what it's from. Is it Crafter? Anyway, they come 4 different designs. And what's cool about these is, I need a plain sheet of paper, is if you do 4 of these, it'll make a circle. Now you have to have a 12 by 12, I think, sheet of paper. Yeah, rubber doilies, anything. Yeah, I mean, you can use so many things, just like Janet was saying on her show. So if you do 4 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll have a circle. And I have 4 different designs of these. And they're real cool on a 12 by 12 sheet of paper. to do a circle with these designs all the way around. Just repeat it 4 times. Very cool. And then these I think I ordered through Joann's one year. And I've used these many times in my mixed media art journal. These windows, cathedral window stencils, and all kinds of things like this. Now this one may be a good one. Pull that. Actually though, I'm thinking these leaves might be good. I'm thinking I'm liking these fern leaves because they'll bend. Maybe I'll use the ferns. Let's see. We'll see. I just kind of want to show you all the different kind of stencils you can use. This is a good one here. This is my most expensive stencil. Well, I say that. I should say anything I made with Cameo would be a most expensive stencil, although I didn't buy my Cameo. Deb, Artzology Deb sent it to me some years ago. I guess she was tired of me using paper. Cutting out. So she sent me one. Anyway, that would be your most expensive way to cut stencils. But not overall. Overall, it's cheaper because you're making your own. But this particular stencil was in the airbrush section. It is so stinking cool, though. It makes foam. It makes water foam. It makes all kinds of cool designs. I got it on sale. I think it was normally like $25. Okay? For airbrush stencils. Airbrush stencils are expensive like crazy. But if you're at Hobby Lobby and you're just roaming around, stop by the airbrush section just to look and see if they have any of these stencils on sale. I got it for a couple bucks, but they're very expensive. I'll pull these out and maybe do a little example with that too. So all kinds. Here's another stained glass window one. I should have a piece of paper here just so they can show up. Bubbles. Oh, here's another one of the windows. Again, if you do 4 of them, you have a nice, beautiful stained glass circular window. But these are also good to use in corners, right? If art journaling, you know. They're just awesome. I love my stained glass ones. Corrugate. Corrugate is a great stamp. And I know Paula knows while I'm giggling. Use your corrugate. Get a box, and if you can see ripples in the side of the box, peel off one layer, and you'll have this. And it's awesome. Let me just do it. Let's see if my stamp will work. I usually use paint, as you can see, but I just want to show you. ASMR. Well, see, it's not dark enough. I need my paint. Hang on. Let's find the paint. Let me just get a baby wipe here and dab on. I could have probably done it with the stamp pad if I put 2 layers on, but I just want to do a quick show here. Yes, it's not cardboard. It's not cardboard. It's corrugate. So see, now what I did with this is I would make lines in a journal. Now, I'm not a journaler, but I wanted to show in some kind of a project demo. You can make lines like this with corrugate. Again, it needs another coat of paint on it because it's soaked right in, and I need another coat of paint to make these fully black or whatever color. But then you make your own journaling lines. Okay, journaling spots. Journaling spots. Here's a bigger one. Okay. All right, here's some more bits. And I've used spray paint on these in driveway art. I've rolled out a whole sheet of, look, this is a tiny little baby. Look at that little, squirrel. Look, it's a tiny little spider web. Hey, Orla. So I've used these out on driveway art while I'll roll out a big sheet of paper on the driveway and paint, spray paint, splatter. And so these, I've got all kinds of spray paint all over these babies. These babies been spray painted up. Here's another one that's, here's another one that was a 12 by 12 sheet of scrapbook paper. And I've cut it up and use this. I mean, this baby's so crusty. And that's one of the other things about using cardboard or paper stencils. The more you use them, the thicker and sturdier they get. This baby is sturdy. Sturdy. More bits of scrapbook papers. Here's some little butterfly stencils, you know, tiny little cutouts. So anyway, I won't show you every single butterfly. There's a lot of stuff here, lots of stuff. I just want to show you that even these little bits like this, these are great. Don't throw these away. Well, no, I can't say that, guys. I'm the worst to say, because I do get rid of stuff. But if you're not going to use it, then get rid of it. But I use this stuff, even if I just glue it in a journal. Did I say cardboard? Oh my gosh. Oh, go wash my mouth out with soap. Corrugate, Paula, corrugate. Okay. More bits. Even look how junky this one's getting. But look at this. If I took just that little flower out, how cute that is to use. We're going to get back to the color, but oh, here's another piece. See, this came in 3 bits. This airbrush. Move. Oh, my compass roses. We can't get them all jacked up. Let's don't mess up the compass roses. Those would be good backgrounds. But these 3 pieces all came in that airbrush stencil kit. Very expensive, but I got it cheap. There's another one of those. Clock. And I'm just showing these for you guys for ideas. Another compass rose. Just a regular owl stencil. I think this one was actually hand cut by Pavla. Pavla sent this, and she hand cut this, people. Hand cut that. Another compass rose. Compasses and compass rose. I'm just kind of fiddling here for a minute. And we're going to go on to, here's another one of those stained glass quad that you can make a circle with. Butterflies. And you've probably seen in my journal flips, you've seen bits and pieces of all this in journal flips. Oh, uh-oh, that's bad news. Half paper. These are Walmart stencils. There's a pack of these, or like 50 of these, for like $2 in the Walmart kids section, and they're just paper. They're, you know, thick paper, but here's a feather. These are all cutouts that the girls have sent over the years. Miss Rose, I think, sent me the bulk of these. I was thinking about Miss Rose. Sometimes she tweets every now and then, and I always think, I need to send Miss Rose a card, because she's a night owl. Miss Rose is an all-nighter. She's our octogenarian. And, yeah. So, some more Punchinella, and, you know, again, how many of us have not used Punchinella in our art journals? If you have any questions, put them in caps, guys. If you're just coming in, thanks for joining me. We're going to get back to the color book. Here's a card. This was a card from Hubster some years ago. But look, I took that baby apart. That's a good stencil. Bags more of, here's some cardboard. The girls, if they would punch things out, then these would be good stencils. Leftovers from your punch outs. Dress forms. So the negative space is good as well. Here's some butterflies, negative space butterflies. So I got a whole bag of those. I won't go through every one, guys, because we will be here all day. All right, it's starting to slide. Let me put this batch on the floor. Denise is going to try to come down. The next week is spring break, and I'm hoping that yes, ignore the endearing sentiments. Put paint on that baby, on that pup. That's what Janet said. Ignore the endearing sentiments and put paint on that pup. Exactly. Anyway, next week is spring break. I'm hoping, Jen is going to come through on her way, and depending on the weather, will depend on what we can do with her. Well, what can we do with Jen? Jen Oz. But it's spring break. The kids will be here. We want to maybe go to the lake. Hubster's going to try to take a couple days off, and Denise is going to try to come down on the not this weekend, but the next weekend. I'm going to try to and get her to help me do some more organizing. Now, whether we stream it or not, we'll see. But y'all know how much fun we have with Denise. I love streaming with my daughter Denise. Here's some little leaves. Again, these are some negative space. Somebody cut out some leaves out of this. But look how cool that is, the negative space. When you get a new kids board. Yes, and I've done that too, Mac. The kids, well, it's not even kids. I've got some adult board games where if you punch out the little cardboard circles and shapes and stuff, you got a stencil. I know y'all are going to say, oh my gosh, I actually had a stack of those about maybe this deep, those hard chipboard with all circles, all stars, all kinds of shapes that I finally threw away. I mean, they're 12 by 12, and I had like stacks of them. And I use them for spray paint. I spray painted them on the driveway art. I'd throw them all out. I'd throw, dun, like dealing a deck of cards. Throw them out on the paper. Dun, 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 dun. Like the sound effects. And then I'd take my spray paints. Of course, it's all outside. And then I'd pick them all up, flip them over because they still had wet paint on them. And, you just get the greatest designs. And then I'd end up cutting all that paper up and making postcards, and I sent them all out. I think I have one little scrap of that paper left. Well, I've done it more than once, but yeah, that's driveway art, if you ever want to know. We've done that we haven't done it for a long time, though. More different punchinellas, different sizes of punchinella. And then just all kinds of little stars. There's some little house shapes. These little cheap pink stencils. I'm kind of just looking. While I'm doing this, guys, I'm looking and pulling some things for the backgrounds. All right. These leaves are good, too. Those are some good fern leaves. Maybe I'll pull that. But all kinds of little things. Oh, there's a bat. That's cool. There's a little bat in there. A bat and a raven. These had to be some Halloween. Probably something that Michael's had in their grab bags. Have you ever got Michael's grab bags? There's a little cat. You can't see, but it's a scaredy cat thing. Halloween cat. Michael's grab bags. There was one time, and I think Eileen made me do it. It was not this last Halloween. I think it was a Halloween before, maybe 2 years ago. That Michael's had these grab bags. I mean, big bags, like your grocery bag size, full of stuff. I think were they $5? Maybe one of y'all remember. No, they were. I think they were $2. I think they were $2. I'm almost sure of it. And I went in and bought about 5 of them. I went in and bought about 5 of them. And there was some good stuff. I came and streamed it. I came back and streamed it. And the girl said, you need to go get some more of those. So I said, okay, I'll be right back. So I stopped the stream, got in the car. My Michael's is 5 miles away. Got in the car, drove to Michael's, and bought about 5 or 10 more. I don't know. I think I got about 15 of those bags. I ended up sending a lot of it. I gave a lot of it away. But I think it was Eileen that made me. I'm almost sure it was. Yeah, they're huge, right, Carla? Huge grab bags. Okay, so here's some more of the little pink kids stencils. I'm trying to put them back, some of it back in the sleeves. And so it was awesome. So we paused the stream so I could go back to Michael's and buy some more grab bags. These are those ones, those kids ones from Walmart. These were like $2, and you got like 50 of them. I mean, look. Aren't they cool? And they're just like cardstock. But they're plastic, they got a coating on them, so that helps them, you know, last a little longer. But I got all these like for $2 or $3. I don't remember. Again, they're in the kids' craft section. And they're, I think there's like 4 of them. I think they come on a sheet like this. They're like perforated. I think there's 4 on a sheet, and you just fold them over and unperforate, you know, take them apart, tear them apart. It's always Eileen. I know, right? Yeah, it's always Eileen, the enabler. That's why she's E-T-E-E, and Eileen, the enabler elf. And we honor her every Christmas. So look, I'm just quick. I mean, I think there's 50, if I'm not mistaken. Look how many. I mean, isn't that cool, guys? So, yeah, and then the shapes, your circles, squares, triangles, ovals, those are all in there too. Yeah, it does sound like some. Okay, so I'm getting down, well, I'm getting there. There's some little trees here. That's a tree. It's hard to see, but it's a tree. What else? Some corners. So these are not even including any, these are not anything I've cut out myself. I have a binder. I have a binder of designs I've cut from the Silhouette Cameo, Her Majesty Camille. Look, I needed that shape right there, so I just cut that puppy right out, Janet. Again, I needed that piece right there, so I just cut it out. Here's an owl. I keep all my Cameo cutouts because they're cut out on thinner cardstock, probably 90 weight cardstock. And they're thinner, and I don't want them to get all trashed up like this, right? This was one of those wood things from Michael's. They had a whole section of wood. Some of them weren't used whippy. Yeah. I probably bought it for 1 or 2 designs. This is, I use this, now this is thick. It's wood chip, right? And so you just can't stamp this with your sponge. This has to be used for spray painting. So I took these out and did some spray painted backgrounds with that. Here's some plastic, plastic canvases, more punchinella. These are all alphabets. Well, except this wood grain. These are all alphabet stencils. And, oh, and a couple of these old folk art ones. Those are in there. Again, spray painted. See, that's why they're kind of sticky, because I've used spray paint on all of these, on driveway art. So you've got to kind of, there's that 4th stained glass. Okay, so I've got some pulled out here, so let's move all this off. So we did all that. Going back to our anamorphia and deciding what we want to use on these horns. So again, if you want to do any kind of stamping or stenciling on a page where it's going to go in the background, you could take the time to mask this off. I mean, back in the day, guys, and we were doing stamping, ask Paula, you would take your little Post-it notes and you would fussy note these babies up. You would, to cover up, to mask, you would spend a lot of time masking your images so that you could stamp on them. Here's the good news. If you have a nice big background that you're going to paint anyway, you don't need to do all this. You can if you want, and you really want to make sure it's really neat, or you don't want to paint the background, but you want to stencil or stamp these big areas in your color book, you could take the time to do this. And Post-it notes are the easiest way to do these masking, because you can just tear them into little bits just to, finagle in all those little areas like that. If y'all remember Rubber Stamp Madness magazine and all the stamp stores back in the day. No, I'm not going to glue them into the color. We already talked about that earlier, Sherry. So if you want to do fussy stamping and masking, just use Post-it notes. That's the oldest trick in the book for, But we're not going to do that because I don't care if it gets out of line because we're going to paint the background. All right, so I have 4 more backgrounds here to show you. Samples on. I'm not finishing them, as you know. Okay, so now I got to decide. I kind of like these. These were some faux ephemera in a K & Company pack, I think. I think I want to tear it, though, so that I can make it bend where I want. I'm thinking I might, well, let's maybe this littler one. No, I want the big one and tear that apart. So maybe these 2 parts, something like this. Or maybe even like this. It's kind of like how you have to cut the seams when you want to bend something. With blue paint. The thing about painter's tape, if you're not careful, you could, when you rip up the paint, a lot of people get real, let's mash it down, and then you peel it up and you tore your paper. I'm not going to recommend using painter's tape for that reason. If you know how to use painter's tape, and there's the green ones and the blue ones, and there's a couple colors that are various tacky. I got the blue one, various tackiness to them. But you don't want to stick your tape down and then peel it up, and you peel up your work, Yeah. I always just use Post-it notes when I want to mask. Okay, so let's see. Do I want to do this, maybe? Maybe. And again, if it doesn't work, paint it out white and start over. That's my motto. All right, so I'm going to decide on a color, though. I do kind of almost like the green. So I think I'm going to get out some green. Let's move this out of the way. Maybe some olive green. Get a dry palette. I have stacks of these guys. I mean, I literally threw away 2 feet of these when Denise was last here. And now I have 1, 2, at least 2 more feet of them. Maybe more. I try to not keep every one anymore, but for a long time I kept these and kept these and kept these. All right, where's my, okay. So again, my dry sponge. I gotta get a sip of coffee, guys. Hang on. Even though it's cold, talking for 2 hours. Yellow's the lightest sticky. Thanks, Suzanne. Yellow is the lightest. Okay, I have the blue. Yes, I do have plenty of Post-it notes. Thank you, Sharon L. But the little ones are the easiest because they're tiny. You can get in little spaces, right? All right, so let's give this a whirl. So I'm just going to wet up my, no water in the paint, dry sponge. No water in the paint, dry sponge. And now let's see if I can kind of bend this a little bit and make this work. And there's a couple overlapping ones there. We got, you got to just kind of position it how you want. Let's do a couple of rows. Let's start with maybe right there. The only place I'm going to have to be careful is right here on the edge where the color book is. And what I'll do is I'll just not get right up to that. I will paint that in with a brush. And we'll do that here in a second. So let's see here. So if I can kind of hold it, because we are in a color book. All right, let's see. Again, if you go out of lines, don't worry about it because I'm going to paint the background. Okay. Dry paint. Kind of trying to take my time a little bit. But you can just get in there with the brush too. And I'm going to move my finger, shift it over here. So we're experimenting with this. Okay. It's just another thing to play with in your book. Or books. Or... Okay, so this is more of a mask than a stencil. Oops, let's not move it. I'll do a mask one and I'll do a stencil one. Okay. All right. It's kind of messy, isn't it? But this is good because we can fix it. So what I'd plan on doing is coming down here and doing this and carrying it all the way around. It kind of looks cool, and what I would probably do is go in there with the white paint, but we're gonna do this instead. Just this is good because when something doesn't happen right like you expect it to, we're gonna dry it. Yeah, I like the green too, but I'm gonna try to do something else now because I should have just used the stencil instead of trying to use this leaf as a mask. Okay, because I have my stencil. This was the original that I was going to use. We're going to probably go back. No, here's the original I was going to use. Was this fern leaf. This fern leaf was the original I was going to use. Okay, but what we're going to do first, wait for it. Don't panic. Don't panic, people. Don't panic. You have that can company too, Fern? The mask? Yeah. Okay, so here we're going to do this. I don't know if that water's very clean. So what I'm going to do, I think it's dry enough. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paint over it. Okay? So we're going to just paint over it. 1 or 2 coats. And then we're going to stencil it instead of masking it. I should have done that in the first place. But hey, now you know. This doesn't work. Because you know Laura, she's still here. Laura thinks she messed up her moth. Her mech moth in her Kirby book. She didn't mess it up. She didn't mess it up. And again, that's going to be painted over. I don't care about the outer edge because that's going to be painted over. So I'm going to put 2 coats of paint. Wait for it, people. Put another coat because I'm going to stencil over this. And I'm going to use the same green paint, so I probably don't even need this second coat. But I'm going to fix it. Did Laura say something? Bye, Janet. Have fun at your coffee if that's where you're going. We've got about 30 minutes left. No, you didn't. I saw you put it on. Let's put it this way. It's fixable. Let's put it that way. It's fixable, Laura. Not that you didn't mess it up. It's fixable. All that happened, guys, is that she put too thick a paint over a color book wash. You have to water it down enough and test it to make sure it's thin enough that you're not going to cover up, right? But it's just cute, Laura. You were cute. Got to work through the uglies. That's right, Paula. Okay, so now we fixed it enough. Again, it doesn't matter if it's out of line because my background's all going to be painted anyway. So now let's decide which stencil do I want to use. Do I want to use the fern? Oh, and I wanted to show you guys this. But I don't know if I want to use it on this. Let me test. Let's do a test here with the green. Because these are those airbrush stencils. Let's see if I want to use this. I'm testing on a blank paper here, guys, just to see if I like the look of it before I do it. It kind of looks like moss. I'm trying to imagine that on there. It kind of goes with the Kirby doodle effect. Let me do a little bit more. We'll do a little, let me do this and I'll be able to tell better. I should have done on paper instead of cardstock. I'm not sure I'm going to like that. No, it just looks like kind of like blobs of paint. I'll fix it, Laura. See, I kind of like it, but I'm not sure if I love it. So there's that option. Because see, I got tons of this stuff to use. Or there is a honeycomb option, the little one. A green honeycomb might look kind of cool. And then just kind of overlap to get them. If you overlap your stencil, then you can go on to the next one and keep it running. So do I like the honeycomb look? I need this on paper because it's hard to tear this cardstock. I don't even know why I was thinking of putting it on cardstock. There's this look. The butterfly gave Laura the name Anxiety. Oh, that's what gave her the name Anxiety Art? Was that piece? No, Laura, you need, no, and I'm serious about this. I am as serious as I can be, Laura. You need to frame that page and put Anxiety Art Adventures under it. I'm not joking. You need to put that under it. I'll even cut it out on my Cameo for you. Anxiety Art Adventures. And you can put that right on the top or bottom of that page and frame it. No joke. You have to do that. If that is the start of your name, that's a milestone. That's a milestone. Do not get rid of that page. Seriously. Double, even if it's just half of the page of the moth, or if you want to do two, a double page, double framed, and you can get those 12 by 12 frames really cheap. Seriously, keep it. All right, so now where was I? Oh, where's my, here. Okay, so I kind of have this bit here. For real, don't you guys agree? All right, so we have this idea. I have the honeycomb. I'm liking the honeycomb better because it's more dramatic. You can't do it. Oh my gosh, you despise it so much. Don't throw it away though, please. Don't throw it away. I'm serious. Someday you're going to look back and you're going to look how far I've progressed. And I remember when I was Anxiety Art. Okay, I'm liking this one so far. Now let's do a couple more tests. Let's see. I think the fern might be too big. You might not be able to tell it's a fern because it's going to be so big. Yeah, I think I'm going to nix the fern. The other option I had was this one. So I'm going to do it on this paper here instead of cardstock. And I'm not telling you should do this on every color book page, guys. I'm just giving you some ideas. You agree too? Everybody agrees. Don't throw it away. Even if you don't frame it, don't throw it away, okay? Really. Because someday you're going to wish you hadn't. Okay, so we have this. I'm kind of liking that. If I could do 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 of those, that one's kind of cool. What do y'all think? I'm kind of torn between the honeycomb and the floral. What do y'all think? I'm going to let y'all decide. Floral or honeycomb? Floral, honeycomb. We got to get crack-a-lackin', guys. I'm just, dilly-dallying. You'll think about it. Okay. If you don't, here's the thing. If you do not, at least send it to Jess. Jess would probably appreciate, Jessica. Okay, so those are my choices here. Okay. So honeycomb or floral. Okay, one honeycomb and everybody else is floral. So it looks like there's 2 honeycomb, floral for sure. So the bulk of it is floral. So we're going to go with floral. Okay, we're just going with the majority there today. I got to get a little bit more green paint out here. All right, let's see if we can make let's make a happy mess. A happy mess. Okay, so the only place I really have to pay attention to, and I'm going to let the little line of the paper separate it there. Okay, let's roll. And I'm going to get a brush out too and work that. You'll see. I have confidence in this. You guys might think, oh no, I don't know about this. Well, I don't know either, but why not try it? I want it to come down a little bit off the edge. See, I'm going to paint in between there. Laura's probably having a... Oh, yeah. All right. We don't want to say Laura's... All right. Then we'll come down here. Again, give me a minute, guys. Have a little faith. Have a little faith. We're going to make it work. Okay, now we're going to come over here. Y'all know you know this is brave and you want to try it. You know you do. Crafting by the seat of your pants. There you go. Let's see. And thanks everybody for watching here and on YouTube. On the recordings. Thanks for being here, guys. I appreciate it. I wanted to do this show on backgrounds. Color book backgrounds. Okay, now, I think I'm done with the sponge. Now I'm going to get my brush back out. I'm just enjoying the art. Okay, it's cool. It's good. I'm glad y'all like it. Now, here's a couple things we're going to do. First, we're going to fill in here in the back of the horns. And if there's a little bit of messy areas, you can get in there with a smaller brush than this. And, you know, get in there and fussy brush in. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of it. But for the most part, I want to get onto the background, too, so y'all can see that it may look like a mess. But wait for it. And if you're not brave enough to do this in a color book, then, you know, practice. Print it out. Print this out and try it. Okay? If you're afraid to do it in your color book. Because it would be it'd be a great practice just to see what you could do with your paints and all. Even if you don't do it in your actual color book. You know? Print it out. Put it in an art journal, cut it out. I'm having fun. That's what we're here for. We're here to have fun. The mess freaks you out. Oh, it does a lot of people. You know, that's why there's so many different things. That's why there's color books that you just color with your color pencils and you never make a mess. That's fine. I do that too. But my Kirby book is all, you know, backgrounds, washes, all kinds of things. And my Imagimorphia, my Anamorphia, and my Mythmorphia will all be the same. I'll do backgrounds and all kinds of stuff like this. And someday I might finish it and send it to Kirby. I don't know if anybody's ever sent him a completed book. All right, so there we go. Now let me quickly just hit this with the heat gun. Oh wait, I didn't get this little point here. Let me get the water out of my brush. I want to get that little point. You would trace this. Now that's a good idea, Palm. Palm said she'd trace the stencil and paint around it. Or you could even do it with a color with a color pencil if you traced it, Palm. But I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here. I have a plan. Just hang on. But that is a good idea. I hadn't thought about tracing it. Okay, now let me get a baby wipe and just kind of clean my hands a little. That's a great idea if you're one to not want to make a painty mess. That's true. You are putting your paint in your Kirby books, Laura, for sure. Okay, so now what I want to do is get my black back here. And it doesn't have to be black. I like black backgrounds because I like doing space, planets, shooting stars, and all that. So I like putting a lot of outer space, but you don't have to. You could put anything in the back. You could put dark green. I just like black. Okay, so let me move some of this out of the way. Get the water out of my brush because I want it really dry. All right, so let me get a smaller brush anyway. That doesn't get a smaller one. Just one size smaller here. Okay. And so this is what I'll do. At least get around the horns. Looks cool. Yeah, well, wait till you see it when it's got black neatly painted around it. With planets and stars. Oh my. And again, I can paint pretty quickly. You don't have to go this fast. Just anything I do here, guys, a lot of it's quick, speeded up because of the time frame. But don't ever feel like you have to go this fast. You know, if I say, well, I got that done in an hour and a half. Oh, I never get it done in an hour and a half. Well, nobody said you had to get it done in an hour and a half. You know, a lot of what I do fast because I've been doing this show for 6 years, 6.5. And, you know, and of course painting for, you know, decades. So, but don't feel like you have to do it this fast. And I'm using an angle brush, which gives me a nice point. And see, I can just curve right around there like that. And you do washes and paint backgrounds, yeah. And, you know, I just like the way it looks. And again, just like that example I showed you here. Here's white pencil. That's white pencil on black pencil. Here's white pencil on black paint. You can't do this on black pencil. See? And then when there's little floaty things in Kirby's thing, sometimes, depends on what it is, I'll just paint over it, or I'll just kind of get as close as I can to it and go back with a, you know, you can get in there with a pencil if you want to get right up on some edges. If you don't think you can get that close with paint. But some things, if it just, I don't mind painting over it, you know. Right now, I just want to get around the horns, so y'all can see the effect that the stencil has. And this is why it didn't matter if you went out of lines. Oh, stress so much about trying to be perfect. Yeah. Yeah, I think I used to say something like the effect of get over yourself. Get over yourself. You know, yeah, just, you know, move on. Get over yourself and move on. Do your art. Do your page. If you don't like it, just, if you can't fix it, just move on. Life's too short. It's too much crap in the world to worry about that, for goodness sake. You know? We want this to be fun. We want it to be relaxing. We want it to be enjoyable. We have a great community. And you think about, if you've ever had a major illness or any of your kids ever been sick or, what's going on in the world. I mean, come on, really? You know. Yeah. And I'm not, fussing at anybody. I'm just saying. And there's a little, what do you call it? Those little dandelion weeds. And I kind of want to know that it's there, so I'm just going to kind of paint kind of around it. But what I'm going to do, so I know it's there, I'll go back in there with white pencil and redraw it in. And I'll do that here for y'all in a minute. We just want to enjoy the process here and have a bit of chill. It does look cool, doesn't it? So I'm just going to do enough to give you all the idea, because I did have one more I wanted to do. We'll see how much time we have. We did one with stamps. Oh, I painted over a leaf. That's okay. I'll paint it back in. And the horn here at the top is kind of wavy, and I want to kind of keep that because it gives it that effect of the horn. So I don't want it perfectly straight there. I do want that little bit of a wave in there. Like the roughness of the horn. If you mess up a page, there's always another one. That's right, Whippy. There's always another page. But I guess I just feel like, don't ever feel that if you mess up a page that book's ruined. Got to move on. Can't color in that book anymore. I messed up that page. Don't do that. All right, so I got to get kind of in the crevice here, so I'm going to kind of get in there as much as I can. And I know that is a complaint with a lot of people that with their color books, when they're kind of in there, it's kind of hard to. But with the brush, you really can get in there. And I'm not even going all the way to the edge. I would put a piece of wax paper behind here to go all the way to the edge, because you don't want to glue your pages together. All right, so here's what it looks like before and after. Okay, I'm going to continue on just a little. Again, around one of those little dandelion things. But you just go along the horn. Again, this is kind of a rough edge, so I want to kind of wave it in there. Hey, BG. If I didn't see you come in, hi. Or anybody else coming in, thanks everybody for being here. Okay, I need to get a little bit pointier brush in there and get around those little mushrooms growing off the top of his head. And same thing for right in there. There's another little area right in there that could be painted black. I'm going to turn it upside down, guys, so I can reach it easier. But be the boss of your color book. If you think, oh man, that would look good with 20 more leaves. There's only 3 leaves right there. I wish he'd drawn 20. Well, draw in 20. But I want to show you those little dandelions. There's another one right there. I'm just going to paint around it. And I love seeing when y'all post on Twitter, or Instagram, or Facebook, any of them. There's a lot of Facebook groups, color book groups. And, even though I'm in some of them, but I don't really post them because I don't have time. But I watch them and I try to like and comment on some of them because they're so, it's just that y'all are so brave. I love when y'all are brave. Will you get a poster book? No, probably not. I mean, I think I saw one or heard about one, the poster Kirby book. Um, it's a fold out or something, Laura, like a flip down. Nah, I don't have a place for it if I finished it. Probably not. But the fact that, newbies coloring, and there's some girls that really are, take a lot of time sharing step by steps in their channels and their streams that encourage people that are just picking it up for the very first time. I know sometimes here we do more, I don't want to call it advanced, but more crazy stuff that's going to take you a little bit of bravery. But there's so many color book girls out there doing so much awesome stuff. And I see all the comments for people that can't get out of the house. They're either stuck at home, they have small children, or they have health issues, pain management issues, and every one of them always talk about how coloring has helped them so much, and watching all of us that do these shows, how it's helped them so much. And that is really, ultimately, I guess that's really what it's all about, isn't it? Helping people, I think. And you all girls do an awesome job of that. So shout out to you guys. Shouting you guys out. All right, let's see. Let's get right in here a little bit. And you can always get in there with a fine pencil if you don't feel comfortable getting in there with a brush, even a small brush. Get in there with your pencil, but just remember the white glows and things like that. Don't go over the black pencil. You got to have the paint there for that to work. So try to get there as close as you can. If you can't get right up on it, get as close as you can, then go in there with the pencil. If you plan on adding the glows. That's why you stream Bunny. I know. Bunny, let me shout out Bunny for a minute. Bunny's in the UK, and I'm not going to call out anybody's personal illnesses or anything like that. I don't like to do that on the show because I think it's personal. But, I know so many of y'all, and I would dare say the majority of people have, things that coloring and arting and art journaling is like, very, very important to them, and has really, really meant, sometimes between life and death. Anyway, so Bunny I think she's got a degree in UK in fine art back in the day. And she's done a lot of art and everything, and then she started doing her color book. And I think the main reason was her arthritis and her pain maintenance. Well, now she is at the point, people, where she has had to go to digi painting because she can't put pressure on her hands. And we all keep praying that that either staves off or doesn't get worse. So she's moved on to Digi. So if y'all want to see somebody do, and she does stream it kind of early morning here because she is in the UK, and they're 4 to 5 depending on their time switch too. They're 4 to 5 hours difference from us. So I think sometimes she streams like 4, 5, 6 in the morning my time. But she does record. Yes, Suzanne says Heather's her hero. And so she said, well, if I can't do this, I'm going to do that. And so she moved on to digi coloring. And I'm not sure what program she uses and all that, but if y'all go over to Bunny's channel, her name's Heather, Bunny Designs, you can see her working digitally on color books. And I don't know that she has so far, posted some in Kirby's, what do you call it, Bennett Klein's Facebook group. That would be an inspiration over there. I'm telling you, Bunny, Heather, if you haven't posted any of that over there, that would really be an inspiration to anybody that can't do coloring, to know that the option of digicoloring is out there and how to do it. Because I have no idea. I don't do, you know, I can barely do a little bit of Photoshop. I mean, I'd love to learn it someday, and I'd probably hire Eileen to teach me. But if you want to know how to do color books digitally, then make sure you, yeah, Whippy said coloring, painting, and sketching as a healing art. Yeah. Cam even told me, he said, you know, I think I can't decide if I want to be in engineering, if I want to be a teacher, or just do art, you know, go to art school, and or psychology. And so he and some of his friends that are artists, he hangs out with all the art crowds and the music and the drama and all the creatives at his school. There's some of them that have thought about, and his teacher watches this show sometimes. Cam told me his teacher will watch this show occasionally. So shout out to the kids that are out there trying to do something with their art. And they're talking about, Cam said if he wasn't going to be a teacher, he would want to teach high school art or you know, something with art with the healing, with the psychology with it. You know? And he still hasn't decided because he has lots of options. You know, he's very smart. He could go into engineering if he wanted, which would pay a lot more money. But he really thinks that healing, art and healing are really, really important to him. And so that's why he's thinking about maybe psychology with a minor in art so that he could do both. You have posted some to Bennett Klein. Okay, good. Good, Bunny. Or her name's Heather, but Bunny Designs is her handle. Okay, so I'm just starting to chat here, and I wasn't gonna go this far with it, but you know, I got to chat. So anyway, just talking about the how art heals. That's my point. Okay, so there we go. Again, there's a couple places here that could use a second coat because, you know, I did go with the stencil. Let me go back to the green here and just kind of touch up a little here. And you could go back in there with your pencil. Okay, I could put a glow around it. Maybe I'll do that too. Let's just kind of put a second coat on these open areas here. So anyway, there's my little lecture, a little art lecture for the day. Julie said, keeps your sanity because I can't get out due to, yeah, a lot of people here can't get out of the house. And not just in my show, but in, you know, the other art girls shows too. And, you know, it's important. So thanks everybody for being here. Thanks if you're watching on YouTube. And, you know, if you are watching on YouTube, whether it's my channel or some of the other coloring girls or art girls, leave a nice comment for them and tell them how much it meant to you. You know, we're not fishing for compliments here or on YouTube, but it's very encouraging. I have 2 or 3 people over there that are very, very encouraging. And, you know, I'm not fishing for compliments. It's good to know that it's helping people, you know, that, you know, it means so much. So whether you leave a comment on mine or one of the other colorist girls' channel, and y'all know who they all are. And if you watch them and follow them, leave comments over there, guys, for them, to encourage them, especially newbies. Especially newbie streamers or newbie YouTubers. You know? Okay, there we go. So there's the base coat of it. Now let me hit it with the heat gun because you have to have it 100% dry before you go in here with pencils. Yeah, it does get done quick with paint, doesn't it? And again, if you're afraid to do it in your color book, make a couple copies and practice it. You know, even if you just make a half page here and see if you think you're going to like it, test a paintbrush and some acrylic paint. And again, I just use craft paint. Everything you see me do, unless I say otherwise, because I don't really do oil painting anymore. I can show you some old oil painting. I do a little bit of watercolor. Again, if I'm working in watercolor, you'll see it, or Neocolor 2s. But anytime I'm using paint, hang on guys, wait a minute. My show, I think my time's up, guys. Time's up. Hang on. Snowstorm here. This could be see how I did the wash of white over it? You could just do more of that to make it look like snow is blowing and then splatter it. And if you have some blue in the background, thanks Janet. If you have some blue or purple, it would work with purple too, like lavender color in the snow shadows. If it was, blue or purple, then when you splatter paint on top of that, then the snow will show. And you can also splatter over the top of your image like this so that it looks like they're in the snow, right? So that's how you could do a snowstorm. But you could use purple. Lavender would be like a shadow in snow. Or gray. But purple or blue just gives it more life than just a flat gray shadow, so I would go with purple or blue. Okay, so let's see, where were we? Okay, so anyway, you can do your own backgrounds. And what I'm going to do is show you some stencil and stamping. Now, again, it's going to depend on the size of the area. Thanks, Jen. It's going to depend on the size of the area you want to stencil or stamp, and the size of your stencil or stamp. Like right here, I couldn't really stamp. Let me find something here, something kind of big. I didn't pull too many big things out here. All right, well, yeah. Okay, so for instance, this one, the splash. It would be hard to, not impossible, but you might get 3 splashes in there. So we're going to play with that today in my anamorphia. This one I just left white because I really wanted just to concentrate on him, and I showed how to do a silk shine here. So the ribbons go from dark, medium, light to white, and then back down again, and see how that gives it a shine. But to get this effect, you have to have the shine going all like together, or if it goes like this or like that. However, it just has to look like it flows together. In other words, if you just put a shine here, shine there, one up here, one down there, it would still look like shiny ribbon, but it wouldn't look like he was had a belly. See, the shine is on his belly right here, and that's why that effect works. Okay, here's one we did for the fibs. I think I need to make copies. You know what? If I do decide to do a news from the Muse art letter, this has got to be in there. Now, of course, I can't copy, or I wouldn't sell it anyway. But this needs to be. We'd have to do something that has to do with fibs. This one is in, right now at least, this one I was just showing, this is part of the Doodler's Anonymous book. Okay, all right, next is, these are just random pages. This was a page somebody posted on a page. I got a little bit of, see the sun coming through the window there. So, color book page, let's see what else. These are color book images cut out and then painted in a kind of a mixed media collage-y way. So again, it's just another way to use your color book pages if you have pages that are one-sided, or you just want to cut them out and use them in your art journals. So, but this is my napkin journal. So all the backgrounds started with like napkins like this. Okay? Hey Debbie, anybody else coming in? So it's just another one of the ways that you can use your color book images. So I wanted to show, I'm going to bring out my binder here. Let me see if I can do a little something with this lamp. Let's move it over just maybe a little bit. There we go. Well, that's going to put a glare anyway. These are in sleeves, so they're going to have a little bit of a glare. But so I want to show you some of the various backgrounds that we have used in color book pages. And they are in sleeves. There is going to be a little bit of a glare, but I've shown these pages lots of times. But this is just a reminder of what you can do with backgrounds. So here I've painted in and then put in little splatters. This one, again, a lot of these are painted. Okay, a lot of them are painted. I painted in the clouds. Let's see, I need to maybe prop this up a little more. Hang on, guys. The light's flashing out now. Let's see. One moment, please. Whoa. Hang on. Okay. Because I have my, the sun's coming through the window. All right, so this one we've used Stickles glitter on, but this is all paint. So don't be afraid to paint your backgrounds in your color book. Paint, 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 okay? Paint and glitter, paint, acrylic. And when I say paint, I just mean the cheap craft paint. Americana is my favorite, but just craft paint. Here we've used paint and then color pencil. I don't know what you call that, kind of glows, if you will. Glows or sun rays or any of that. You can do that with pencil, but that works because that's acrylic paint. If this was just color pencil back here, you couldn't do this on top of it. Okay. Here's one where it's just like a real big painted out area. This is one of Bennett Klein's, and it's kind of like that on his page. He kind of doesn't really have anything over here, so I exaggerated that fog or that mist and put it all the way through. It just looked like, because it was all white, I thought, well, let's put him either in a cloud or in a snowstorm. So all this is paint. Here's another one where all this is painted in. And this background right here, and this was all added in. None of that was there. I just put that in myself, and the little lantern wasn't there. So just because something's not there, don't feel like you can't draw something in. Draw it in, color it in. See all that back here? Yeah, and all the water here is that's all acrylic paint. Oh, hey, welcome back, Jen. Glad to have you. So this one is all just left white, but I did put a little cloud around the artist's name, and so that was. I know, it's cute, yeah. I tried to accent the artist names in some way or another. Like on this one, I made a nice white wave. And try to keep their names. This one I just left down here. But again, this is all like a pencil glow. And this is half marker, the Crayola Super Tips. Okay. And then also a pencil on top of that. Okay, this one, I put the water over the shoes, like dripping down over the Converse. Thanks, Marilyn. This I painted all in like a storm here. Same for the monster. I added more hairs, and yeah, that was a 2-page spread. This one, again, I used a lot of the kids' Crayola markers. There's a little something on, it's not paint, it's a little piece of paper. I used the kids' Crayola markers and then did a lot of pencil. And like this vest here, I made my own plaid, right there. And so here's a good example of what you can do in backgrounds. So all these trees, and now there were a couple of little leaves. These little leaves right there were there, and the little olive was there. But all these other little grass marks here, and all these little like tick marks there, all those little gold marks on top of the yellow, all these little lines on the mountain, and some of these designs here. I added all that to make it look like more like farmland and, you know, things growing. So you can add all that yourself. So just because something is flat, and don't think that you have to color it. How would you paint a snow? Well, I did paint this snow. Of course, this is just all completely colored in. Another one with painting in my own galaxies. And yeah, those napkins, y'all that are in that napkin exchange, and you don't have to put it in a book. Test one out. Just get a piece of cardstock, heavy cardstock, and do the napkin on it, and then use your color book images that you've cut out on that. But now remember, guys, it's best if you color in the book or color your pages before you glue them in, because if you glue your images on top of a rough napkin, there's no way you can color pencil them, right? Because you'll be color penciling in a texture. So make sure that if you color on top of your napkins not color on top of the napkins, cut your images out and then glue it on your napkin. Okay, this one is our dragon that's done all in black and white. Just use black and white pencil and a white Posca, and then this is just color pencil here. So again, this is on craft paper, so you could print it out. Hey, Julie Topaz. Oh, Julie always reminds me it's hump day. I should bring out Mike. I know the camel's name's not Mike, but that always makes me think of that commercial. Anyway, so you could print out your image on like craft paper, craft cardstock, and color it on there. Then you've already got your mid-tone with the craft color. I'm showing different ways, different backgrounds. Hey, Bunny. I'm showing different backgrounds that you can use your color book pages. Here's the little chipmunk that I did finish this. I haven't posted it on Bennett Klein's Facebook group yet, but this one is only done with a couple of teals, like a marker and a pencil, and I think we use 3 shades of purple and the purple marker. And when I say marker, I just mean these Crayola, let me find one here. Do I have one sitting here? Yeah. Crayola Super Tips, these little like kids markers, and I'm going to show you some more of that in a minute too. Okay, so in my Doodlers Anonymous, I took the cover off my Doodlers Anonymous and the intro page to put in my binder. And so what I wanted to show you on this is, just because they don't have anything in the background doesn't mean you can't put it in there yourself. So like the swoops here of the leaves, that's paint. You know, here again, the background, I put the little glow around things. With the blue peanut. Yes, I know, I like the blue peanut too, Marilyn. This one is all paint. This had nothing in the background but white. So, okay, welcome everybody. Coffee and Art in the Morning. I'm Dee Dee. I'll move the coffee out of the way. We don't want any spills on the area. So, here's the thing. Jana was streaming some stencils last night. I didn't get to watch it last night. I watched half of it this morning. And she just inspired me to pull out stencils. But not just stencils, but some stamps too. So I think what I'm going to do is talk about some, we've talked about it before, but I want to do it more in depth on using what you can do for color book backgrounds. And I know we talked about, you know, how you can use stencils and stamps and other things in the background of color books, but I thought we would just go ahead and do a little couple of examples. And yeah, so I pulled out Anamorphia this morning. I flagged a couple of pages that I think would be good to test, you know, big areas of a blank space. So I thought maybe we would do something like that, and I wrote different parts, like in this one maybe stencil this and then paint the background. Same for these. And then on this you could paint the background and then stencil or stamp on it. Same for this one. You know, that just has doodle more crows. Well, I'm not going to doodle more crows. We're going to stamp or stencil. Same for this one. It says draw more jellyfish. This one says, not, well, yeah, it does. Draw more bees. No, oh, Suzanne, I do need to get out Her Majesty Camille. It's been a while since we've used a cameo silhouette. Yeah, we do need to do that again soon. You know? Suzanne. But anyway, so I thought we could use these pages for those examples, but I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about, and it has got a little bit of a glare. I may need to prop that. Let me get that book over here and prop that up real quick. It just needs to prop up just an inch or so that my lamp doesn't glare on it as much. So I'm going to just prop it up just an inch there. So I wanted to show y'all again a couple of ways that we have used backgrounds and what we do with our color book pages. Yes, I know, for all that blank space. So I don't know what we're going to do yet. So I did pull out a few, I pulled out a stencil pack and some stamps, and so we'll see. But I wanted to remind y'all of the napkin journal and how we have used color book pages cut out on top of painted napkins. So we have napkins are matte medium down and then paint in, and then these are color book images, and we cut them out and then paint them in. So this is another way to use your color book images and cut them out and use them